live and in living color. And the cool thing about this time of year is surprises, right? Albeit Santa Claus bringing some gifts or some incredible wrestling action that we got coming with Saturday night's main event and first Raw and the New Year and the Royal Rumble, or if it's the TFW podcast. Surprises galore for the next 30 plus days. Call us Saint Freakin whatever. I don't know. We should have figured that out before we press record. But we are here. We are Three the Hard Way. Y'all know who we are. This is That's Freakin' Wrestling, but it's 4 of us today. It is 4 of us today. A couple weeks ago, I talked about how Rhodesia was not doing her job and there was no females that was grasping the freaking besides her. We had a couple of comments. Shout out to y'all on YouTube. So she went and got some support on this show. Episode 178 is 2 women, 2 guys, fatal 4-way.
I'm ready.
My girl
let's go. Let's fight. Introduce her and let's start fighting.
The building. She said before we press record, it was nothing off the limits. Rhodesia asked, I don't know what the hell Rhodesia got planned for this episode, but I'm here for it if that's the case. But B-Ray, what's going on?
What's going on, y'all? First of all, thank you for having me. This is literally almost a year or so in the making.
Yep. Damn near 53 weeks, I think, or something like that since we met.
Man. Well, yeah, because we met back in November, right? Yep. And then we were communicating a little bit before that, so a little over a year. But yeah, y'all, thank y'all for having me.
Of course. We met at Survivor Series last year with the return of CM Punk, and which was cool to finally see you in person. We had been talking on Twitter back and forth a lot. I don't even remember when we started communicating and talking. Do you have any idea, like, how we found each other on Twitter?
I want to say, I think I came across one of y'all tweets during live commentary on Raw, and then it was like a banger after banger after banger as far as the content. So I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta follow them because they are hilarious." I don't know who leading the charge, but oh yeah, let me follow them. So that's where it actually started, and then that's when the communication started flowing in. And I said, "Okay, they some real ones in the wrestling media industry." So that's how I got here. That's how I came into y'all little realm.
Good looking. We appreciate that. I do know you are a Michael Jackson fan.
Oh yeah,
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the equivalent of Michael Jackson in wrestling for you?
Oh, I'm going to narrow it down to 3 people, and that's just based off accolades and accomplishments. I'm going to say Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and as far as popularity, The Rock.
That's a
I would disagree on.
I love that list.
I would disagree on Shawn Michaels, but that's okay. We're not gonna do that. I have another female here with me, woman, not female, woman with me.
Yes.
So for today, I love Shawn Michaels.
There you go.
Oh hell, are you kidding me? You see the switch up? You see the switch up?
We gotta stick together. We gotta stick together.
After that, forget Shawn Michaels. Tonight, this is Shawn Michaels Appreciation Night. How about that?
That is crazy.
Hey, this is the first time I've met B Ray, and I already want to call you Queen B. I love it. Shawn Michaels love.
What's up?
We good. We great.
B, how long you been a wrestling fan for?
My dad got arrested, so he said that I've started watching probably around 3 or 4, but my earliest memory is SummerSlam 1994, Undertaker versus Undertaker. That's my first memory, and that's what actually solidified me as a fan. You know, as a kid, he said, well, if you can see somebody that can clone themselves like that, sign me up. I'm down. And it's literally been that way ever since. So 6 to my knowledge, but my dad said it was earlier than that.
Okay. It's funny because we had just talked a couple weeks ago on the pod about trash ass matches, and that may be the most trash match. But you couldn't tell us nothing when we were younger.
No.
To your point about like, hey, this is Undertaker versus Undertaker. Dan, if you watch that now, you would be like, this may be the worst match I've ever seen in my entire life. It's up there with Giant Gonzalez and Undertaker from, what was that, WrestleMania 8? Or whatever that was. That was
terrible.
So let me ask y'all
Super
this:
bad.
is it worse? Which one's worse, that or Crown Jewel with Taker? Not Taker. No, with Taker, Kane, Triple H. I think it was one more person.
Taker
Oh,
versus
easily
Taker.
that one. What?
That's it.
Ooh.
See,
Well,
to me, it was Taker versus Taker because the problem with Crown Jewel was we were watching legends play wrestle, and it's like, what is happening? This feels like a bad movie. Taker versus Taker was just a really bad match.
Got it.
that's fair.
Okay.
That's,
And it's one of those
man.
things where you get like, dang, like Father Time is really here. Like, what are we really doing? It was bad, but you're right. You're right. Especially when, with the Undertaker versus Undertaker, we found out who it was. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'll go with that.
See,
what you think,
you bring
E?
back memories now. But
Ooh,
I'm glad that got you
ooh.
into the game, that you remember that. So you've been a fan for 20 years, that you remember for sure.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Would you say this is the most fun time that you've had as being a fan, or would you go Attitude Era? Would you go something else?
So I would say my level of excitement is now where it was during the Attitude Era. I took one break during wrestling, and that was 2007 because of school. And I think what got me back in, it was CM Punk versus Cena and Money in the Bank. That's what brought me back in. And it was kind of like, we coasting, we trying to figure it out. But yeah, I think now I'm more excited. I'm as excited as I was as a kid, sitting there waiting for 7 o'clock to hit to watch Monday Night Raw.
It's funny because I was watching SmackDown this past Friday, and we've been saying it for months and months and months, but they are just on a roll right now, WWE, with their storytelling, the talent, the production. And then you think about Raw this week, and you brought up CM Punk. That is a hell of a segue to, like, I guess maybe like our top story this week. And that was CM Punk and Seth Rollins going after each other on Monday Night Raw verbally. And I had said on the pod a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned it again last week, something has changed with the build to WrestleMania. You can just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been around like October, something kind of switched. And I had been thinking when we saw CM Punk and Roman Reigns, I'm like, oh, here's your night one on Netflix main event. Word comes out today that it looks like it's going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk night one for Monday Night Raw on Netflix, which then tells us if the money is smart and The Rock's not involved in WrestleMania, could be getting Roman Reigns versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Let's start there before we get to Punk and Rollins. Is CM Punk versus Roman Reigns main event, last match on either night one or night two something that is a great consolation prize for you if you were wanting Roman Reigns versus The Rock?
I would say yes, especially since there is like legit real life beef tension in between them. Because remember, Punk is the reason Roman almost missed out on the bag as far as being a part of the Shield. So if you can kind of tie that in with how he feels about that and how Punk initially felt about Roman, and then you can even go back to that one little segment they had. I believe that was when Raw went old school. I think for the first time, you can just see that tension was already there. So if you can build off that and then put that into the storyline, I think that is good enough to hold weight to be at least night two, I guess, as far as the main event.
My girl B Ray's bringing receipts. She pulling stuff up that's like from this. I'm like, what?
Rhodesia over there
that sure did
Googling.
happen.
All you hear is her typing.
I try.
I don't know, man. So you're saying the main event. I think as the story is this very second with Roman, no. Okay. But again, that's also how I feel about Punk. I'm not a huge Punk fan. Now I can appreciate him. I know that he's a draw. I can respect his career and what he did so far through his career, but I would probably not say that for me, that would be like a consolation. That would not be what I would want to see Punk and Roman. But again, who knows? You got this story, even you talking about on CM Punk saying that this is something personal between Paul and I as far as what that favor is. Who knows how they can story develop this? And then hell yeah, like, yeah, give me that for night 1 and night 2. But just in this particular moment right now, no, I would think that would be a consolation prize for me.
I agree with that.
For me right now, not really, but it's a lot of time between now and WrestleMania. They can kind of get a story. I think we've been spoiled the past 2 years to have like a really, good story going on right now. We had a red hot Roman Reigns, right? Like almost unbeatable. And then you had, Cody Rhodes was like the guy that rising up, from the ashes to try to go after this big monster, right? And then he wasn't able to win for 39, worst finish ever. And then we go into, WrestleMania 40. Like, right, it's the finisher story. The world's behind this man. And, they ushered him into the main event instead of Rock. And then we had the final boss. So we had like some major subplots and stories going to the last 2 WrestleManias, more so than any WrestleMania I can remember outside of like, Hawk and Warrior, right? So at the current moment, without Rock being present, I don't feel that way. Like we had like this big story we had to get to. But there's time, right? Like there's CM Punk, there's Roman, 2 big names. Very interesting if, neither will have the championship. I guess those 2 big names, future, Hall of Famers maybe don't need it to main event, right? So I'm on the wait and see.
When I first saw it and I'm watching, and I'm still thinking last night, I'm like, okay, damn, they're going kind of deep into Seth and Punk already. And then, like I said, today, looking at, the legend news of what the plan is, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, at a second, I'm like, damn, that feels like a consolation prize. But then I had to like walk it back and say everything Punk's been involved in since he's been back has been blockbuster, has been main event. He comes in night 1, him and Seth until he gets injured. The Drew storyline is a top 3 storyline of all of wrestling in 2024. Whatever he has planned with Seth over this next 30 plus days is going to be blockbusters. Hell, if it's enough to main event the first Raw show on Netflix, that tells you how big they plan on making it. So then I'm like, all right, I'm down. But then that takes me to, we still haven't really gotten Roman versus Solo 1-on-1. We still got to get Jacob and Roman. So is like the Bloodline story on pause right now? We see the injuries that came out of War Games. Ooh. Or are they going to pick it back up? I don't know. But either way, I think everything that Punk has done has drawn money and has drawn the interest of the fans. And I can't see him with Paul Heyman in the middle and Roman Reigns being anything different.
I so feel that. But again, I just feel like this is a great opportunity, especially if you're... Do we know when Jade is going to return?
No.
Okay. I just feel like this is a prime time for the women to main event one of these nights. Last year, I was going to probably get on the bandwagon if I wanted a woman to main event, but hey, we got the Bloodline. This is the end game. So for me, I was able to get past that and say, nope, give it all to the Bloodline for both nights. But I think that is prime. I think it's time for us to really get that again. The last one was main event when when Becky won, right? And in New Jersey. Wasn't that Mania?
Yeah, it was that.
Yes, we was there until the next day, Monday morning.
To the next day in the rain and cold, and I caught pneumonia waiting under that tunnel for an Uber. Yep.
Rhodesia was
what was
stressing.
I thinking?
Rhodesia was stressing. She started hyperventilating.
Crying.
Her anxiety went through the roof. Yeah, she started crying. I was like, it'll be all right.
I would never do that again.
Ever in life.
So I try to purge you're not going to SummerSlam next year?
I'm going, but if we got to be up in there like we did in WrestleMania, I'm like, oh, heck no. I was just like, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, we about to be here like literally Monday. But my goddaughter, she loved Becky, so I knew Becky was winning. So I was like, let me just sit and wait for her reaction because this is what I'm doing it for. Because I would have been gone a long time ago. I would have left after Coffee Mania, honestly.
And even that was probably what, hour 6 into the show?
Yep.
Man, I do not miss those days.
No.
God, man. Shout out to the 2 nights. And then they came out, actually, I think Ari said that he feels like there's room for more 2-night PLEs. I don't know how I feel about that. Now, if they only stick to the main 4 as night 2, I can probably be okay with it, but to me, that takes every night 2 that you add, you take away from the specialness of those night 2. So like, if you want to do the Rumble night 2 and you go one night main event women, second night men, to me that's common sense. Okay, cool, I'm down for that. But I am not trying to see 2 nights of Backlash or 2 nights of Money in the Bank. I'm good on all that.
And then if they decide to do that, like, you have to put some meaning behind it. Like, we've seen, even with the big 4 PLEs, a lot of effort was not really put into it. So if you can't do that for a 2 night, then just not. I wouldn't entertain it.
So Eve, let me start with you on this one. And even though I know your answer because you hate Seth Rollins. After Monday Night Raw, are you Team Punk or are you Team Rollins? After listening, now don't take anything they've done up to this point outside of the 2 promos they cut on Raw. So you got Punk's side where Punk is saying, hey man, thanks for holding it down, but QB1's back, starter's back, sit your ass on the bench. And Seth saying, look, all you did while you were gone was try to tear this place down and try to get us all out of a job. Fuck you. Whose side are you on? Which team are you?
I hate to ride the fence on this one, y'all, but I can't pick a side right now, to be honest with you. I mean, when I watch, I got to, man. Like, like I said, I like watching the story unfold. I'm interested in where they're going with this, right? Because like right now they're both baby faces. So as a guy who's, like conventional, I like my heels, I like my babies, right? There's not one right now. And I actually like the work that Seth's doing on the microphone. Like, right, he got the crazy, outfits on. I'm looking like, you know what? That outfit ain't that bad. And then we get down to them sugar daddy boots. They're like, okay, there you go. There's Seth. But he's not that bad. And then, Punk, I got to be honest with you, man. Like, this ain't the Punk from 10 years ago. There's glimpses of it, but he ain't there. Goddamn, this man, he 45. He like he 55. Goddamn, he look like him and Jericho look like they like sitting from the same time period,
put them
man.
in the same category. Dude.
I mean, woo!
I don't even watch AEW like that. And I know Jericho looks much worse right now than CM Punk.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I love me some CM Punk though, but I was looking at his hair in that War Games, and I'm like, damn, is that a Trump pay? Like, like, wow, the hair just looked kind of weird. But I did like the interview that the little sit down he had, like this little subtle slick shots that he throws. I like that, right? This some little subtle shade. Hey, matter of fact, hey, when the starters come back in the game, the bench warmers gotta go back to the bench. Like, I like that, right? So I'm like engaged in the story. I want to see where it goes. I feel like at some point somebody got turned on somebody, but maybe they don't. But until they make that trigger where I can say, okay, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy, I'm sitting on the sides and I'm just gonna enjoy the ride. Hey, your boy, look at you. Hey, man, look. I can't say that. I'm about to give y'all some tea, but I can't give y'all the tea. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. Never mind.
Do it, Sid.
No, Katrina's one of her best friends works with a celebrity, and I've been trying to tell her to get me on, like slide my mixtape. And I told her what you gotta do is look, put in Big Daddy's mixtape, and then when he rolls up in, no, she just popping with it, right? Boom, 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 and she like, and then he'll go like, yo, who's that? Oh, that's E. You don't know E? Everybody know E, right? So put me on, but keep going, y'all.
Now, before Rhodesia, you answer the question, I don't know how the hell we got there. How did we get to E having a mixtape?
My fault.
No, but I know. I wanted to know in his mind. He took a sip of tea and he said something about I shouldn't give out the tea. And I thought he had some tea about
like wrestling
Phil
or something.
Brooks.
Yeah, right.
And like he's about to give it up. This Negro then proceeds to talk about a mixtape. What kind of mixtape is it? E?
It's coming real soon. Don't worry about it.
Is it music?
Class. Don't worry. It's a little everything, y'all. Don't worry about it.
Oh, boy. God bless. Rhodesia?
I was trying to find the most offensive QB1 to try to compare Punk to, and the best one I had came to mind was Aaron Rodgers. Like, homeboy, you ain't that right now. Like, I am not gonna disrespect you and your legacy and your career, but for you to come and you check Seth Rollins like that, talking about you QB1. No, I remember when John Cena told Roman, hey, I only came back because you can't get the job done. Now, I loved Roman at that time, and I was like, John Cena got a point. You got a point. No, you can't sit up here and say QB1 is back. No, he ain't. And if he is, he's like a Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers. So no, I'm down rocking with Seth. No surprise there.
I definitely have to roll with Seth on this one because I was one of Punk's biggest fans. I gotta explain it. I was one of his biggest fans back then, and granted, how all of it happened, that was terrible. It was bad, but I think what kind of turned me off from Punk, and for a long time I started calling him Phil because of that. It's just how he for 10 straight years, like it's literally something after something. Jab after jab, blow after blow. I'm like, I get it. It was bad, but bro, you gotta let that go. I get it. It sucked what happened with the wedding and all that kind of stuff. But let it go. We get it. We understand. Then when he went to AEW, I said, okay, we about to get the whole spiel again from back when he got cut, yada yada yada. So I think I understand what Seth said. Like when you left, you literally spit poison on the company. And now that you're back, now I do agree, people do change. Time bring about a change, but I don't know. It's just so much happened, so much was said. I'm on the fence with even anything CM Punk says because that ugly side could rear his head any day now. We don't know. But Seth had a point, a major point, and he pretty much pulled up like nothing happened. I think that was my biggest beef. He showed up like, oh, forget everything I just said. Y'all, the little flashy thing from Men in Black, forget all that. That's how he pulled up. And I'm just like, nah. They need to have a chair right in the middle of that ring for him to do a whole apology segment that could have lasted easily 30 minutes because he had a whole list of people he probably needs to apologize to. So I'm gonna set on this one. I mean,
Punk.
we can
Punk.
Who?
She referred to
Punk needs to apologize.
Everybody. Yes, everybody.
Okay,
there you go.
For everybody who is listening, if you're watching on YouTube, B has this incredibly beautiful Christmas tree behind her, but so she is the farthest from being in the Christmas spirit. She is the damn.
You went to my hot topic.
To say, oh shit, to say that man needs to apologize. Do we not remember what happened to him when he was in the old school WC? We are forgetting about how good WB is right now. And maybe you guys have forgotten. It has not been that good.
No.
When Punk was there and when he left and how he was treated with the doctor and with Vince and got fired on his wedding day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That man was spitting last night. Yeah. He is right. The main guy is back. Seth, you was put in a position and you only got the WrestleMania main event because you was tethered to The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. CM Punk will be able to get to the WrestleMania main event without being tethered to those guys because we were talking last year, oh, Punk's finally going to get his main event with Seth Rollins. And Seth has never main evented a WrestleMania before last year. So it wasn't like, oh, Seth is this WrestleMania main eventer. He couldn't even get to that spot with Brock. They had to open the show, which I loved. But still, I think Punk, I'm Team Punk on this one. Now, what Seth was saying, is he true? Of course he is. That's what makes it so good. You could, right to E saying, like, he's right down the middle. I could be right down the middle, too, but that doesn't make for good conversation. But I am Team Punk. But what I am interested in, I did get a second of a pause when Seth was in the ring and he was kind of waiting for a CM Punk chant. And he didn't get it when he thought he was going to get it. He got it later. Yeah. And I sat there for a second. I'm like, okay, they can always fix it. But if the plan is for both of these guys to be babyface after this feud, they got to be careful.
Right.
They got to be careful. And we've seen that happen where the crowd takes to one person and then you got to pivot. And sometimes the pivot doesn't work. And I was like, all right, well, we got to roll with the punches. And the punches may be, all right, well, you're heel now.
Mm-hmm.
You can always book someone as a face, book someone as a heel, but I really feel like the two of them, and I don't want to give them passes because like a lot of times I wouldn't have given AEW passes, but I feel like they are a definition to me of a tweener. I think you're going to always, no matter how good Punk is going to be, there's always going to be people like me who's not going to be behind Punk. Same thing with Seth. Seth is going to either be irritating as hell to you and you just not going to like him, or he's this Monday Night Messiah. So I think the two of them can play that very well where they are still tweeners, that even after this feud is over, they can still be whatever it is that they are going to be.
You're right.
Can we see both of them staying on Raw?
Well, are you gonna bring something up about that with trade portal?
Transfer window.
That's a good question.
Transfer window. So that started on SmackDown, and this is why I hate some of the social media people. I saw a sizable amount of tweets that was, oh, that's why they just need to completely get rid of the draft. Because look at this. It's like, are you just now watching wrestling? Because
Like,
if this was
3
years ago, 4 years ago, y'all know somebody would just popped up on the opposite show and they wouldn't give any rhyme or reason. They would just been there. And it's like, oh, Gunther's on SmackDown now. And you'd be like, well, why? And then they would never tell you why. At least this is a story that they're going to use. And I personally love it. I think it's tremendous for them to do it right now because this gives them the opportunity via real life situations like injuries, like contract, whatever the case may be, where they can now say, okay, what are we doing for WrestleMania? But damn, if we could just get that person off of Raw and put them on SmackDown to make that match, it would work. Now we can just say, hey, transfer window. And I saw some information about the transfer window. Actually, let me pull it up really, really, really cool. Well, one thing I know is OG Bloodline is supposed to be on Raw. But I think we kind of knew that because they're going to Netflix.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is right here. It says a lot of changes happening because Netflix wants the stars, but some are to shake up creative. All superstars are eligible with the expectation that a title or two will be swapping brands. So it's a big deal. So it looks like it's not just a one-off. It's not just, okay, we're doing this just to get Cody on Raw and then we're going to stop. It looks like they're doing some things here. So do you guys think we see Punk and Seth still on Raw when this whole transfer window is over?
I honestly don't even know. I didn't even think about that. I was so focused on Roman and Cody and where they was gonna go. I didn't even think about Seth and Punk. I'm gonna say for now, CM Punk is a definite yes for Raw. I think he's staying put. I don't know about Seth yet.
Transfer portal. The first time I ever heard about this was when LeBron James Jr., whatever his name is, Bronny, entered into the transfer portal. Is this something that's going to happen just at a certain time of the year? Is it open at all times? Do you know that?
Oh, no, actually, it's going to close. It's going to close.
It's going to close.
Yeah.
Okay. So in my mind, I feel like they have to be together long enough to make it make sense, Seth and Punk. And then after that's done, that'd be an easy way to separate them. So I don't know whenever this portal, if it portal ends soon, then I will probably have to say they're staying together. Okay. If the portal ends later out, then hey, they go separate ways.
I think the portal should probably close by Mania, after Mania.
Well, hell, I was thinking way before then. I was thinking the next 30 days, this thing needs to be. Okay. Because the whole point, I think, is this is one, to take care of the Raw thing on Netflix and to make sure that their WrestleMania stories are set. So if you keep this going until after Mania, then you button right up against the draft, which, all right, you might as well, to that point, then you might as well not have a draft.
Right.
So I do think this is probably going to be locked up in the next couple of weeks. That's what I assume. I could be wrong, but that's my assumption.
I think the entire thing's pretty cool. I like that they're trying to create a storyline reasoning for it, right? Because this is kind of sports centric, right? Because you know, within the NBA, NFL, goal lines, 12-1, like the trade window. Like there's trades that happen all throughout the season up until a certain point, right? So, and it's not just just one time a year. This is open all year long. So I like that is there in place, right? And it's just like, instead of, as you said, Matt, like back in the day, you just see dudes pop up for no reason. They're flip-flopping all the time, right? I'm a proponent for the draft. I like the brand split. It gives me a reason to watch SmackDown, give me a reason to watch Raw, because if we didn't have a brand split, we see a lot of the same guys on the show. So I'll see 3 hours on Raw, the same dudes doing the same stuff, and then I see it on SmackDown. So now it's like, I don't need to watch one other, right? I'll be like AEW is right now. Like why do I need to watch Collision where I can see the best of it on Dynamite, right? And all the top guys are on there, right? So it gives me a reason to watch both shows. And I like to do a little bit of a switch every now and then, right? And I like their tips to do so. As far as like Seth or Punk, I guess it kind of depends on where they're going with that story. Like, right, if this is going to wrap up by the next Raw, which I kind of feel like, man, you're leaving a lot on the table if you were to wrap that storyline up that quickly. This seems like it's something that it's been like a year or so in the making since Punk's been back.
Yeah.
Right when CM Punk appeared at that Survivor Series, right, that you guys were at, Seth, it seemed like what said backstage legit, he had heat with the situation, right? And he hadn't talked to Punk. I guess they hadn't talked before that, right? So why would you kind of like put like flatten that out like so soon? So it seems like there's more to tell with that story. So who knows? But I'm pretty cool with it.
I want to piggyback off what you said as far as like the Sports Center thing. I do think it'll be cool if they incorporate like like with NBA trade deadline, stuff like that, like just randomly announce, hey, so and so is going to SmackDown for yada yada, who's going over to Raw, and even NXT, because I think NXT is still, they're included, right?
Same. Yep.
They're included. So
yeah.
If they do it like that, I think that keeps the interest high. And if you do it like that, then you don't have to necessarily do the draft every year.
Yeah. Because the draft, honestly, like the past couple of years, I feel like it's been kind of a letdown. Especially last year, like they didn't. Almost all the major players stayed on the show, right?
Yeah.
And they hyped it up just for nothing to happen. Yep. Like in that scenario, I'm with B. Like this, just keep the trading thing open all year long and talk about it. Like if they have a trade deadline to where it's locked for a certain time of period, that's something they can advertise, right? They're like, hey, March 1st, we go into a 6-month lock or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, then you pitch your whole in the storylines. Like, well, I mean, I guess leading up until that, they can kind of like cement certain stories to where for the 6 months, you're not going to have that type of movement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that idea too.
I love it. Kudos to them. Whoever thought about this, I think it's great because this also just speaks to the new era of WWE that they explain everything that's happening. Even if we don't like the explanation, at least we get an explanation of why it's happening. B, you talked about, the whole sports part of it. You are a massive San Antonio Spurs fan. Wemby's dead to me because we didn't draft him. He got screwed out of the draft last year. How is he doing this year? I know, of course, he kind of balled out last year and then he hit a little bit of a ceiling, which was expected. I don't know what people thought last year of him, but I haven't kept up with him at all this year. What is he doing?
I want to say he did a 50-point game. That was back last month, I think. But you brought up a good point about the sophomore slump because you got to think about it. He literally was running nonstop from getting drafted, then going all the way to Paris to play. And when you're somebody that's that tall, that needs a lot of conditioning, he came in literally exhausted, gassed. So they think them first 2 or 3 games, but he's doing really well. I think he's starting to find his footing. He is first place in total blocks and blocks per game. So as of now, I think he may be a possible shoe-in for DPOY. But I like what he's doing. I love that we have Chris Paul, and I've said it many times, and I can even say it on here for good measure. I take back everything I've said about Chris Paul because I was not.
What'd you say about Chris Paul? What'd you say bad about
Chris
him?
Paul's a jerk. Like, he's a dirty player, Ric Flair. Like, literally, he would literally throw the rock and hide his hand. Anytime you would see like a fight, even with San Antonio, he literally snuck a jab to Dylan Brooks. I'm not mad he did that because I hate Dylan Brooks, but nevertheless, he a dirty player, and I still have to take all that back because that's exactly what Wemby needed to literally gain that confidence. The team in general needed a veteran in Chris Paul, but I think once Wemby gets off like the nagging injuries, he'll be just as good, if not better. I already can tell y'all now, probably he's top 10 as far as MVP conversation now. If you go on the NBA website and see the ranking, I think by year 3, 4, possibly MVP.
Nice.
I see E stay muted up. Hold on. So B, I got to let you know, you just threw his boy in the dirt and E just sitting there smirking. Any other time E would be gassing up Chris Paul, but he just sat back.
I had to take everything back I said about Chris Paul. I'm like, you know what? He's our jerk now. He's our jerk. So Chris Paul, I'm sorry. I apologize because if he can retire a Spur, That's what we need. We needed that because I think the youngest on the Spurs is 20, because Castle just turned 20. So they needed that uncle presence from him. So
you want him to retire ringless?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, you got to look at your Charles Barkley's, your Tracy McGrady's, people like that. It's just some people were meant to come in the league and get a ring. Some people was just literally just here to just hoop. You make it to the playoffs, get the experience. I don't. As of now,
Chris
I
Paul,
don't think,
who was a 32-year veteran, that some people are just meant to ball and get experience is nuts.
It is, but I have accepted that Chris Paul is good because Tracy McGrady is my favorite player of all time, like number one, and I had to accept that he's not going to get a ring, and I accepted it. And Chris Paul, even when I wasn't a fan of his, I'm like, I don't see it happening. It's not going to happen. If they can build a solid team in San Antonio, we're a lot better than we were last year. Literally, we're not at the bottom of the barrel, but I don't think it's. I don't know. I'm 50.
I'm setting the mood over. I'm setting the mood over here, y'all. I got the mood. I'm setting the mood over here, y'all. But look, Queen B, I'm glad my boy, one of my favorite players of all time, Chris Paul, is treating you right because he is an asset to any team that he's on. And I've been watching him on that team, and he's definitely Chris Pops and Wembley said he's been a positive influence. And that's one of the things about seeing CP3 is that he's been a very positive influence on any of the young teams that he's been on.
Mm-hmm.
I know he has some pushback as far as the type of player that he was, but he's kind of like Kobe in a lot of ways. Like when they were great players and they demand a lot from their players. So he's almost kind of like me, like the young people. You know what I'm saying? Like I give them some grace, right? Because you got to help them. They're going to learn. They're going through growing pains. But when you're supposed to be a pro, I need you to act like a pro, cuz. And you know what? And look, you said, throw a rock and you turn. I do that all the time, man. I respect that.
Nobody you like him.
All right, look. Yeah. I'm gonna throw some shade at somebody and look the other way, man. But somebody asked about it. The only thing about Chris, if you ask him about it, he'll say, like, yeah, I did it. You know what I'm saying? But so I appreciate the dirtiness of it. So I'm glad he's treating you right over there.
Yeah, but I can just say it's refreshing to see that they're in a better place than they were last season. And it had me to the point where I was rooting for the Pistons. I'm like, we in the same boat. We in the sinking ship. So once they got that confidence, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to put them on the back burner, like right over here. So if they make it to the play-in, because they're literally, I think, number 11, if I'm not mistaken, and Spurs and Detroit are number 11. But if they make it
right now,
I'm gonna have to root for them because the trenches were trenching last season for both of our teams.
And if I know you've been watching back when we both were great, of course you guys were good after us. I mean, we haven't been good in 15 fucking years, but when we were running things,
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs and the Pistons. So to kind of see us really be downtrodden for the last few years, it's kind of just like, yo, but we'll be back. Hopefully we'll be back at the same time, which would be cool. Back to wrestling. One thing I thought was cool too, and I saw it when Drew came back, of course, last week, and he cut a promo yesterday and talked about why he jumped Jay and Sammy. And you can tell, of course, that wasn't the initial plan because we could poke holes in his reasoning, but I'm cool with it. What I thought was great though was every major men's storyline right now is somehow connected to the Bloodline universe. And that has never happened. Think about Seth, Sammy, Punk, everybody really but Gunther. It's Cody, KO, now Drew. They all are connected somehow, some way to Roman Reigns and or the Bloodline. And I think that is pretty spectacular that they're able to know what their biggest story is and their biggest characters and say, what we're going to do? We're going to put the tree branches off of our top people. Even when Roman's not there, the stories are connected somehow to him. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting since you said that. I think eventually, probably right before Mania, we're going to get to a point in the story where we're probably going to see Roman at his most vulnerable because literally everybody is in shambles because of Roman. Now, you can say the Bloodline in general, but literally everybody's in shambles because of Roman. and this monster that has been literally wreaking havoc since 2020. So you can, eventually we got to get to that Roman where the tears are not like your Hell in the Cell tears. It's going to be legit tears, crying, where he's going to be the only one left standing. I don't know how they're going to do that, turning on him where he's by himself, but I do see that. And you have to break him all the way down back to a nub before you bring him back up. But I'm hoping that's the case because everybody got beef from Roman, and it's legit. Everything's legit.
Rhodesia's smiling over. You got something?
Yeah, I did, and I lost it just because of the chat.
Good talk. Let's talk about New Day.
Oh wait, before moving to New Day, I got it. It came back. Was this like the best hug it out, but not hugging it out, making up between Seth and Sammy? I thought that was so cool, so adult-ish of them.
It was real. That's why.
Yeah, I loved it. So that's all I had to say. When I saw that last night, I was like, "That's perfect." It's like our kids play together.
Mm-hmm.
For real, we good?
Well,
yeah, we good.
To me, that wasn't even the best part. The best part was, and we'll see if it ends in the next few weeks, but it was, "Hey man, we good? Yeah, we good." And he just walked away. All right.
Yep.
There wasn't no,
that was
you know what I'm saying? There wasn't no
it.
crazy hug. There wasn't no smack. There wasn't no, "Hey, watch your back." It was just, "All right, man. Yeah, we straight."
Yep. Loved it.
And they kept it moving. Yep. I do like that. New Day, it's working. Most positive, even though it's boos, reaction they've gotten in years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it speaks to, of course, the love for Big E. I also think a lot of it is the respect they have for Kofi and Xavier to really give them the boos that they deserve for the story and for the work that they've done. Fans are smart. They know what's happening here. And that crowd last night set the precedent. Mm-hmm. Now that's going to happen, they're going to get the dime treatment everywhere they go until they need it to stop for whatever story that they want to tell. But I thought last night was tremendous in regards to them coming out and saying nothing, but putting them right where they need to put them at, which is we are clearly heels. We act like we don't know why we're being booed, but everybody in the world knows why you got booed. And they walk away without giving any type of they didn't give anything up. They kept all the material. So 2 thumbs way up for me for week 1.
Xavier even said, oh my bad. Xavier's just like, we ain't even hurt E. Why y'all up here hating on us? And I thought that was really true. They could have stomped him out. We all said that. Everybody talked about it. He's like, we ain't even hurt him. Why we the bad guys?
And I already knew it was gonna be on some BS when they walked in and they Victor Sweet coats. I'm like, okay, here we go. They about to try to clown. But yeah, you're doing something magnificent if you can get that Dirty Dime level of heat. And I was just like, they ain't letting them talk. They got it. I'm how I feel, despite how I feel about Dirty Dime. If you, like I said, if you get that heat, I automatically put you at the top as far as a heel, and they got it. But I want to ask y'all real quick because I had heat from this topic as far as New Day. Is there anything in that initial segment when Big E was there where you all said, maybe Kofi and Woods, they do have a point?
Yeah, the whole fucking promo for me.
Okay. I'm not alone. I just wanted to make sure.
The whole promo, especially the part of, you could have showed up. We've been beefed out for a couple months now. Ever since Odyssey Jones tried to tear this whole thing down and we kept it going. And you wait now till we say some of the worst shit together that we can ever say for you to come back talking about, I'm about to be your manager. Dude, your legs ain't broke. You ain't rolling around in a wheelchair. Your feet work. You could have showed up at any time to save us. And now you want to show up now to make it about you. Hell yeah, I felt that.
That's all me cool. There you go.
Except for then how they became BFFs from it. That was to me. I was like, okay, I can see y'all saying, Big E, where you been at all the time? No, I don't want you here, but I'm still beefing with you. We still going separate ways. That was the only part that got me. Nah, but I'm liking this so far. I'm liking them being together, but I didn't think that they were going to walk away still being a team.
No, man, we've all had, you talk to a dude, y'all ain't maybe mess with each other. Maybe y'all had some beef. Y'all find out y'all both don't like another dude.
Y'all best friends.
Yeah, fuck that dude. Yeah, fuck him. Right? his breath stink and his ass stink. My dude, yeah, man, he is trash dude. Like, right, y'all got something to comment now. Y'all bonding, y'all good together. That's what happened to them. They both mutually just had a dislike for this dude and disdain for what they thought. Now, as far as did we both feel him, man? Of course, two of the biggest heels in the business, Rhodesia and Matt.
This guy, I knew that was coming.
Like, think they got a point. Like now, yeah, and part of it is correct. Like, where has he been, bro? We don't know what conversations he's had via text or conversation, whatever. Right now, what wasn't it's the daggers they was throwing. Man, you got your neck, bro. So what? Stone Cold came back.
That's real too, though. Did he not?
Came back, right? Like, right. So, like, but
facts.
But also, like, those guys got medically cleared, and Edge came back 25 years later. Like, right? It ain't Big E fault he ain't got cleared yet. Like, right? He can't get up in there. At the same time, maybe he don't want to be around the ring because, look, man, he can't do what he loved to do, right? So maybe for him, he going through his own emotional thing. So, right, we don't know what's going on in his mind, right? And the courage that he might have taken to come out there, right, to be in that environment. The man out there, sound he about to cry. I'm gonna be your manager. Like, right, I felt like I was back on the Color Paper, man. Like the Color Paper or something. Like, I love Harpo all my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know the courage this man took to come out there just for him to get berated on national TV. You know what I'm saying? I gotta bring out I gotta bring out the old school black man, the old TV. He gotta come out there on national TV to get dressed down like that, just for you heels, Matt and Rhodesia. Queen Bee, you like I'm not giving you none of this. You good? Me and you and Shawn Michaels, we great forever.
Oh, look at that, boy!
But Matt and Rhodesia's heels sit there and say everything is good. It ain't good. It's sweet. It's tart. It's tart. It's nasty. That was nasty work which happened in that ring, and I love it though. Like Kofi and X is man, I honestly like when I was watching like Kofi's demeanor, I'm like, man, I never expected this out of him, man. Like his whole demeanor, his poise, it seems like he's been ready to be a heel for all his career or something like that. We've never seen, we never seen like this stuff. Like, no, they were heels because like, they kind of want to talk about like they've never been heels before. But originally knew they got over as these comedic, heels, right? But again, they were goofy heels. He seems like he's trying to be a serious like heel right now. And like he even mentioned it, he was like, "Yo, we could have hit him with a sledgehammer." You know what I'm saying? They booing the hell out of him. Like just his like disgust for the crowd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I just love like his facials and everything he's doing. Pause. But I thought it was just great heel work that these guys and I didn't see it coming, and I love it.
You can pinpoint the moment when Kofi.
Real quick. He paused that, but he didn't pause saying, his breath stank and his ass stank.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out you an ass sniffer. Hey, what was that? What was that? You ass sniffer? Remember that? That was like a comedy.
Hey, y'all been around. Y'all been around some dudes, and they ass stink. You know that smell coming ain't from the pits. It's coming from another place that you don't want to go. So y'all know what I'm talking about, especially you men in sports. You know what I'm talking about.
That's
especially when dudes ain't white real good. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, baby.
But you can pinpoint like literally the second that Kobe decided to choose violence. I'm like, okay. I said, I don't think this is not gonna have a good ending. And I'm gonna say good ending as far as on Big E. But I liked it. Like, hey, I would say whoever is in the back doing creative, if you all throughout that hate is the biggest motivator, it's working because literally a lot of stuff going on is based off pure hate. And if I'm beefing with my friend, but we got this common enemy over here, let's dap it up. We cool for now. We got a target right there. Now we may come to blow later on, but we got somebody over here we got to handle. But yeah, it was refreshing, and I think it put some new life into New Day because for a very long time they were just laying stagnant. Even before Big E got hurt, like it's just like, okay, so what are we doing now with them? Like, how can somebody like the New Day reinvent themselves? And surprisingly enough, here we are.
It's here. I mean, I would audibly groan when they used to come out.
Yeah.
I was over it. And you talked about just the dynamic of heels.
I was over there clapping, y'all.
No, man. That shit sailed back in 20. It was COVID last time I was talking about some New Day rocks.
Yeah,
not no more. Yeah. And so not to throw shade at like AEW, but what you just said about the storytelling around things that are relatable of why you turn heel. And I think about like Jay White. Jay White's been back, and he's miraculously a babyface now. There wasn't a promo. There wasn't a moment. It's just he's back, and now he's a babyface. He left as a heel. And it's like, okay, yeah, everybody loves Jay White, but that's not the point. The point is, okay, can you give me something to sink my teeth into to get me emotionally invested? And they did that with the New Day. Did it in spades. So kudos to them. Do we need to talk about a friend of the show, follower of the Twitter, Karrion Kross, the legend, getting the win over the YS6 last night? I popped.
That was a statement. I was here for. I was not mad. I said the YS6 will get that moment, but that was definitely necessary as far as for Karrion with this whole ordeal with like trying to pull Miz in, which he still recruited him, but that was definitely a statement win for him. I wasn't mad at it.
Karrion,
I'm sorry, man. Look, they got Grandpa coming out there. No, they ain't great Grandpa coming out there with that powder, man. I thought they finally sent his ass on. Look, man, have him backstage, giving sage advice, man. Like, I don't want to see him, crippling over there, throwing baby powder in people's eyes, man. Like, I felt like Smokey, man. I feel like Smokey. Like, just move along. Bye, Felicia.
What else from Raw that you guys want to talk about before we go to a question from Eternal surrounding NXT and something I have around Trick Willams?
I want to go back about 10 minutes now. B-Ray, you said something about your feelings about Dom. Do tell what you feel about Dom.
Dang. It was just more so of an annoying thing. Like when he first showed up, it was just the heavy, pretty much, like I said, I'm a day one Roman fan, but you get to the point where a constant push, it kind of gets a little annoying. And that's where I was with it. So even with the heel, with the doggone Bird Runn's mustache, it's just something about him that just get on my nerves. But at the end of the day, Mania in LA, I'm just like, Brittany, you cannot just not hate this dude no more, because the whole entrance, the jail thing, that was beautifully done. Yep, so it just a little nagging. Everybody has a wrestler that they just look at and just can't stand, and that's Dom is the one for me. But I cannot deny like the 180 from when he showed up to where he is now. It just proved that he didn't necessarily you could have sent him back down to NXT, but I'm like, you know what? I think he's gonna figure it out, and sure enough, he did. So I'm not a fan still, but I respect the work. I respect the grind.
Hey B, Queen B, I got a question for you. What's worse, Dominic's mustache or John Cena's bald spot?
I'm gonna say Cena's bald spot only because that's just another reminder that he getting old. So, it's weird when you see people like your Cena's, your Randy's, all them Asian, and seeing that bald spot. I'm like, dang, like.
You know what I'm mad about though? I'm like, man, all that money he make, he can't get some plugs back there.
It ain't serious.
I can't even, not back there, back door. He can't get some back door. He can't get some plugs or something to sew in. You know what I'm talking about?
This man,
like, something to connect. This part to that part, and then they just tie it in there or something like that. He can't do that.
All he needs to do is just grow the hair out and then do the comb over. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, do a comb over.
He is doing the can. He don't reach.
But it's short though. It's short.
It's very
if he
short.
had a longer hair, he gonna come back at the Rumble. Watch, and he gonna look right.
Oh yeah,
new shirt.
He's gonna be the man. And I'm gonna throw it in his face every single episode. John Cena. I'm gonna do the best of John Cena this week, episode 200. But Randy Orton, man, Matt would tell you I was in love with Randy Orton, but he looks just like his daddy now.
He does.
He's like, I like him older. I don't like him that old.
So I'm about 20 minutes away from St. Louis, and every now and then when you go over there, you literally see him. Like he doesn't see himself as like. You don't see him. He doesn't see him in like a store and like that. He just literally randomly be in the grocery store. But there you go. Hey, yeah. So you randomly see him when you go over in St. Louis. Yeah.
You talking about Cowboy or you talking about Randy?
Cowboy. No, Randy ducked off like deep into St. Louis. Like I don't even attempt to drive as far as he stayed. But his dad, we see him randomly.
That's awesome.
You guys are getting a big show in St. Louis, right?
Wrestling Dynamite.
Yeah.
What is
no,
that winner?
Isn't it where's the Rumble? Rumble's in Indy?
Yeah, it's
Indy, yeah.
Okay, but I thought St. Louis is getting something.
I thought so too. Something.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't
we need a
remember what it
redo if that's what they're trying to do.
Oh boy.
For Royal Rumble?
Oh
yes,
boy.
Lord.
Oh boy.
Father God.
The only Rumble I've ever been to, and it's arguably
and that was your first one.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, all of us.
So
we was all there together. Yeah.
Bless y'all. Yep. Oh Lord, that was so disappointing. I was almost there. Well, technically, I'm not from St. Louis, but I was embarrassed. Like, that's what y'all gave St. Louis. Like, we gotta have a redo. That was top to. What saved it? Seth and Roman saved that. And if
it was the first match, right?
The first match.
And then, Brock won. Like, it was a bad night. It was a bad
night.
It was bad. Yeah,
it was bad.
It was really, really bad. What else? Anything else for Raw?
Nope.
All right, so Deadline was Saturday. We don't have to go over Deadline. I did watch it. I watched it actually Monday night before I watched Raw because I didn't get a chance to watch it this past weekend. Women stole the show. Their women's division is such a joy to watch. Damn, I just watched them and just think about the times where women couldn't throw punches in WWE, right? They had to do all hair grabs and couldn't go to the top rope. They are just tremendous. I love their women's division. But my question, and then Eternal, shout out to Eternal, sent us a question that I'm going to get all you guys to answers to. But outside the women, we know what they are. Fantastic. Trick Willams. I've been not hard on Trick, but I've just been saying what everybody is thinking that has eyes or is not too scared to say is it hasn't been the best. His title run has not been the best. His matches have not been the best. His matches are typically stuck in second gear. And then we go from, okay, something's about to happen to, oh, there's the finish. Tell me if I'm off. I think I figured it out. And this is not to shoot him bail. I think it's his opponents. Ain't nobody checking for Ridge Holland and having a great match.
He looked fantastic, though.
He did. I give him that.
Well, I know why you think he looked fantastic. I'm talking about in ring, okay, ma'am. Ain't nobody checking for Ethan Page in ring. Strong Miz type heel that's going to get heat, but he's there to be beat. That's kind of been his feuds over the last 3 or 4 months. When he had his match with Ilya, that match was strong. The match with Melo wasn't the best last year, but I was wondering because I'm sitting there watching, and part of it is too is, he's not losing. That's the other part of it. Yeah. Like on commentary, I think I forgot which one, but somebody made a comment like, "Oh, it's a hush in the crowd. They're worried about Trick. They think his title is about." It's like, no, they're not worried. There's no suspense in this. The match is not the main event. It's the co-main. We know damn well they're not putting the belt on Ridge Holland in the co-main event of Deadline. It's not happening. So I'm watching the match and I'm like, maybe it's his opponents. And then this match, to a certain extent, I'm going to say he was handicapped because he was doing the neck injury. He was selling that. So, okay, now you're not going to work a regular type match. We're going to work on the neck. We're going to tell that story. So, like, is it him? And we're only talking matches. We know he's got the aura. We know he's 10 out of 10. If and when he pops up on Raw, the place is going to explode. He's going to get one of the biggest reactions of the night. We're not talking about his personality. I'm only talking in-ring ability. Do you guys think it's his opponents that he's been against, or is it he is lacking something?
I'm going to say 70% who his opponent is. 30, he's lacking. Because even when he was going up, I think still to this day, his strongest opponent was Carmelo. And it's something missing. I can't really pinpoint what it is as far as what's missing from Trick, but he's definitely has improved since he decided the whole split and all the singles run, all that stuff. But I can't pinpoint what it is, but it's something lacking. It's a puzzle piece missing from him. But the bulk of it is who he's going against. Like, as far as storyline build-up, it's not really convincing to me, in my opinion. So, I don't know how you can fix that. Because he had the title for a while, so how do you fix that at this point? Besides him losing the title.
Which he did already. Remember, they put it back on him when they went to UPN.
Right.
So he's had it for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
I like 70-30. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I think it's how hype his music is. He comes out, everybody's rocking. He got the place jamming. Booker T doing his normal. And so you're super hot to start the match. And so then where can you go from there? It's hard for me to say just completely that it's all his opponents, because then what's the common denominator? Common denominator, it's still him. So for me, if I had to poke a hole somewhere, it would have to be his music. I'll be honest with you, because otherwise, if he came out slow, methodical, or even hype as a John Cena person, they still had that progression in the match. But if you're starting off hype, doing back kicks to start off with in the first 30 seconds, there's really no way to build. And I'm not even a person who talks about how a match builds in going to gears. I'm not even on that level of wrestling psychology, but I think that's just what it is. And for me, maybe it will only change. I think, B-Ray, you said when or how do we fix that? Either one, dropping it permanently off of him, or him getting caught up.
Yeah. And you're right. That's a good point, because his bar, he set the bar high every time he come out with that theme song, like literally every single time. And as soon as he does that and the match start, tick, 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 flat. So, yeah.
Jay Uso would like a word with both you ladies.
Oh, no.
On that.
Oh, my God.
I already got canceled by Baron Corbin. What happened now?
I'm just saying, no, he has the best entrance right now in WWE main roster.
Oh, yeah, easily.
His music, you can't get any hyper. And we're not sitting here talking about, man, it's something about when that bell rings, though, that Jey Uso just ain't got it.
Touche.
I was asking when you started speaking, Matt, I started automatically saying, like, man, it's the competition of people he's against, right? Like Ridge Holland, they've done a good job, making him something, but he was somebody that probably most people didn't care about, a couple months ago. Like, right? I like Ethan Page. Do I think he's the main heel on any brand? I don't think so. And I like him. I like his personality. I like his charisma. I like his mic skills. Just from to me, I think he's missing something. And I'm not really a guy that gets into critiquing people's ring work, but his wrestling style isn't something that I enjoy. It's fine. It's there. Like, right. And I'm okay with a match that's there. But something about him doesn't stand out. Right. So he has that. I just think that when you look at the men's roster as a whole, it's just weak.
It is.
It's just weak. I actually thought that the men's match was actually pretty good. I think, their match was pretty good. Yeah. I think Evans is going to come along. I think that I think my man, what's the little dude's name? Just cut his hair. I forget his name.
Wesley.
Mm-hmm. There's something there with him. I think I like that has the black Chris Jericho look going right now. Like, there's something there. I thought the match itself was pretty good, but the overall men's roster is really weak. Now, when we talk about Trick, let's just talk about him in like the ring work. I think number one, I think that a lot of us, the hardcore fans, we put too much stock in the actual wrestling itself, right? The thing is, the reason why he's in the position he's in is because his charisma and his aura is such a high level that you gotta build the brand around him. Mm-hmm. Number two, this is developmental, like, right? So we got to say that. And then the other part of it is that this dude's only been in the business for a couple years. Now, he has gotten tremendously better every single year that he's been in it. But let's just be honest, man. Like, look, wrestling is a hard business. Mm-hmm. And for him to come as far as he's come in such a short period of time is to his credit. Now, will he be better in the ring in other matches? But if he were to go to the main roster, who's he going to go against? Like Sheamus? These are like 50-year veterans. And of course, they're going to make him look better. He's in the ring with other developmental talent with probably a little more experience than he does, or people who are in developmental for a reason. Like, like back in the NBA, you talk about open for a reason. These people are where they are for a reason. Now, is he going to stand out in the ring with amidst all these other guys who are still figuring pieces out before they get to the main roster? Maybe not. But I think this is just a thing as far as, like, he is such a larger than large personality, especially in that men's roster, that it's just standing out. Like, okay, he's missing this because he should be doing better in the ring. But at the same time, I think he's, as far as getting better, he's getting better and better and better, especially in the ring. You want to talk about somebody 3 years in the business. Look at Lex Luger, 3 years in the business. Right. He was main eventing, right? And look at some of those matches. Now, that's something you want to look at. There's a host of dudes with less experience to him that was put in that position that don't look as good as he does in the ring right now. So I think that we need to continue to give him time. His matches are fine. They're not horrifically bad, right? We've seen like some bad stuff. Like, I just felt we need to lay off of it and say, is he missing something? Maybe he is, but that's why he's on NXT. Like, right? And he's not in the main roster.
So, okay, let me retort. Because, that's a good point. That can be a good point. But then my argument would be, and I love Trick Willams. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think everybody knows that. I'm not a Trick hater. But my retort would be, but he is holding the championship. Roxanne Perez is holding the women's division down. Yes, she's been wrestling longer than Trick, but she's the champion. Braun Breaker was holding that championship down. He ain't been wrestling for that long. So if you kind of just look back at the main world champions on NXT, we haven't had this conversation about them. The conversation we had about Melo.
Hey, Matt, let me walk back. Brian, you were talking about that. We were going on. I think you were hard on Brian during that time period than I was. Brian broke out when he went over to Raw. And then I think Rhodesia was like, hey, if he would maybe in the ring with more experienced people, maybe he might get over a little bit more. And I think that's what's happened. So, like, I think that Brian might be a great example of where he is. And then, too, some people just take to the business much faster than others. Now, we talk about Perez. Perez was a prodigy. That's literally what she is, right? That's inside, outside the ring. She picked up to the business very quickly at a young age. Like, she was having great matches in ROH like well before that, like, right? And I think even up until this point, she has more experience than Trick does. I think Trick literally came off the football field into the ring. So when we talk about where he should be, Carmelo, somebody that's been around. He had been in the Indies working for quite some time too. This dude literally has 3 years in the business, brand spanking new. Like, right? Brian is a equivalent, but we were having the same conversation, if you remember, about where he was in the ring. Like, so he. Like, it wasn't really snapping. Once he became heel and he kept moving forward, then we got the Brian that we have now. So, again, give the brand some time. Is he your champion? Yes, he's your champion. Because you look at that men's roster, like, we can look at it right now, but we don't need to, right? You look at that men's roster, who else should be champion? Like, right?
Well, and at the end of the day, Femi won the Iron Survivor. Is he next going against Trick? That would be an interesting match.
Hey, but as going to Obafemi, like, you want to talk about somebody who has it, who's ready, who's main roster ready now, like on all fronts. Now, again, he has some good power moves, but he might be being called up sooner than later, man. That dude looks good.
Yeah, I thought about that when I watched him, and he's getting a lot of accolades as he should. But I was like, it's funny you say that because I thought the same. I'm watching him, I'm like, he's doing like they're letting him just blow through people. What if they allow Trick to just blow through people? Of course, Oba's much bigger in size than Trick is, but I did wonder that. Question from Eternal. Rhodesia, I'm going to have you go first. And then we throw it to you, B. Got a question for the pod. Shout out once again, Eternal. He said, who from NXT needs to be called up? He said he has. And Eternal was trying to... Eternal, they just signed a deal, dude. You can't take everybody from NXT, brother. All right, you got to remember, they have a deal for Tuesday nights. You can't take everybody. He said he has Wesley, Ethan Page, Trick Willams, Roxanne Perez, and Sol Ruka, all who needs to get called up. Of course, you can pick from that list, Rhodesia, or you can pick your own people. Who do you feel like needs to be called up to the main roster?
I think we've been tooting this horn now. This would be going on the third Mania. So 2 full years. Roxanne needs to come up. Just without a doubt. The women division, she's going to leave that women division in good hands. You can tell they're being pushed. That women division is fantastic. We need that. They need that in main roster WWE. To Eternal, yes, he's pulling all those people because they're gonna have to book 2-3 hour shows every week. That's why they need that many people. So that's the issue there. And then my last quick thing for Trick, just give him a bad Def Rebel song. Problem fixed.
Def Rebel's gone.
Damn.
Oh, they're gone.
Damn it. Damn it.
Damn it.
So So you only going with Roxanne then? You're not going with anybody else you see?
I like
you watch
Oba
this
Femi.
show?
But Oba Femi just came back. So when he was gone for a while, like he completely left my mind. I think Oba can go up. But again, that's because he's larger than life to me. And so he's like an attraction, and then I'll get excited to see him that way. But bring up Roxanne. It will be well welcomed for the women division on SmackDown or Raw, regardless of where she goes to.
Yeah, if you have somebody like, I think that's why I like Bianca as much as I did, because she picked it up. So you got somebody who wasn't even a fan of wrestling, yet here she is, and she picked it up like that. And but with Roxanne, it's literally second nature to her. And I even said when she pulled up, I said she will probably be on the main roster. I say probably about 20, 25, give or take. But Roxanne is definitely ready. I was gonna say Oba should stay and just win the NXT championship, but I think he's already solidified himself. Already has been the longest running North American champion, so I can see him going up. So Ruka, not yet. I feel like even with that talent, I still feel like, because I can see her versus your Tiffany, even Charlotte. Nothing like a mini Charlotte. So, but not yet, not quite, not yet. Let me think. Who else should go up? Ethan should go up. He already has that, I guess, main roster because with AEW. So I think Ethan is good to go up. I can already see a segment with him, with Miz, LA Knight, both of them. That's it. Trick.
So you say no to Trick?
I'm gonna say, only reason I say no for now is because knowing that people from Raw and SmackDown are getting ready to go to NXT in his transfer portal. So he just needs a solid opponent from the main roster to get that confidence boosted, in my opinion. But as of now,
So no, so neither one of you ladies said Julia. Neither one of you ladies said Stephanie Vicure. Neither one of you ladies went with what's her name? The North American champion. What's her name? Kalani?
Oh no, she's not the champ anymore, is she? Or did she win it back again?
No, it's Fallon's champion.
It's Fallon.
Yeah, we know what that's about though.
I didn't say them because that's already stamped as inevitable. It's just a matter of when.
For which one?
Okay.
For which one?
For Julia and Stephanie. Kalani, 50-50.
I think like Zarya, out of those women that just recently entered NXT, I think she's probably the more ready, right? Because she can speak English. She looks great. She looks impressive in the ring. I feel like she will make an immediate splash. I have concerns on Stephanie and Julia's just with them in the language barrier. Like Stephanie speaks almost exclusive, Mexican right now.
I will add to your point. If a certain wrestler by the name of Jordan Grace decides to pull up to the WWE, then
man,
I can see Julia and Stephanie and what's her NXT name?
Which one?
Daria or who?
Zarya.
Zaria.
I want to keep calling her other name.
Isn't that
I was thinking of Sonya Deville. Sorry.
Daria
Sonya.
Listen, Jordan is, I see her being an entrant in the Royal Rumble again, but I think that's going to be her sealed welcome signed contract to the WWE. So if she pulls up, then those three can come up, because Jordan is not an NXT person. We know that. She's already a top level superstar. So yeah, dance with the best of them.
Y'all ready to cancel me?
Oh my God.
Yep. Go ahead and say it. Woman up.
I absolutely love the Women Iron Survivor Challenge match, whatever you call it. I can't believe I'm about to say it. Julie is not that for me right now. I am not, for some reason, she is not clicking with me at all. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's her eye color. I don't know if it's her. She reminds me a lot of your Asuka, your Io Sky.
You saying it's like Roman Reigns contacts bad? Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, no, that's what maybe so. I don't know what it is, but I was watching her in the match, and I guess the problem is for me in my mind with her and Stephanie coming in at the same time. I see somebody like Stephanie who's just a motherfucking monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is in my style, like she's like a pit bull. Everything is intense. That kind of a wrestler. And then you get someone like Julia who's a little bit more animated in her wrestling style. And to me, when she won, I'm like, that was amazing. I love all of the confetti and such. But to me, it was just like, she's not it for me. She's just not. I don't know if it's her wrestling, if she needs more time at bats in the ring with these wrestlers to get a better flow. I just feel like the flow of wrestling is so much better than with Stephanie than it is with Julia. And again, it's not fair because they shouldn't be compared with each other, but to me, that's how they were introduced to me. They were introduced to me together. So for me, I just feel like wrestling, Stephanie outshines Julia by a lot. So maybe I should.
You are seeing what I made comments of week 3 into Stephanie's time in NXT, if you remember. And I said that. I said it's only been 2 weeks so far, but Stephanie is in a better space than Julia is. And I think I can't remember. I think maybe, I don't know if E agree with me or disagree with me. And Julia's good. Mm-hmm. What you are feeling, though, is your eyes are not matching the push that she's getting. That's what you're seeing. We haven't even had this conversation. But that's what it is. Because E made a comment about Zarya, right? Brick house. Comes in there, has the entrance. She goes balls to the wall when she's in there. We know what Stephanie does. And then you have Julia, and Julia's more of a not really acrobatic, but like her offense isn't as hard hitting. Some of her stuff isn't as clean. She emotes a lot in the ring, and there could be times where the emotes don't really match what it could be or should be. But I think some of that is she's a Japanese wrestler compared to being American, and you know that part there. I'm fine with it, because I think this is the handoff to her being the champion, and then Roxanne goes to the main roster, and then we get, you know, those women we just talked about vying for that championship. But I can see that. I don't think that's a cancel comment at all.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I actually wanted Stephanie to win. I get why Julia won because the hype and whatnot, but Stephanie definitely has my attention more than Julia, mainly because of the contacts. I cannot stand color contacts.
Okay, so it's not just me.
It's not just you.
It looks fake as hell. Like it doesn't look right to me.
But I'm not taking that away from her in-ring ability, because the girl is dope. But if I had to pick the person to push between her and Stephanie, because I hate to, like you said, compare them, but I'm going with Stephanie. Stephanie has the aura, the presence, all of it combined, and literally, she's probably the one that didn't necessarily need NXT, but I understand the purpose of her being in NXT. Yep.
So my questions for Eternal, my answers would be, I would go Trick, and I would have Oba be champion. The only reason I would not go Trick, if it's up to what we've seen, is because it seems like they are having people in NXT a little longer than what they quote unquote should be. Like with Braun, it was forever. And then they, you know, had him doing different things. So if they want to put Trick in a position to do different things, see what more he can do. Hey, can he be in this role? Okay, cool. But he was in he's on the Raw promo video.
He is.
Yeah, so
whoa.
He is.
I peeped that. I saw that.
I thought it was
so
a
I'm like, okay.
But he is.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, you can do that. And then absolutely Roxanne, she's ready, and you hand it off to one of those women, and she's good to go. And the matches that she's going to have on the main roster, I'm really excited for. So those would be my two. If I had to pull someone else, I can absolutely argue Obafemi. If they're going to keep him in the powerhouse role, he's done enough in NXT. If they're going to keep him in that role. And they could absolutely keep him in that. Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, who else? But that role, they could do that on the main roster. He's good to go. He's right where he needs to be.
You know what? I'm gonna take that back about Trick because I can see because I didn't see it with Brian in NXT. I wasn't convinced until the Raw call up. So if I can see Trick taking that opportunity and running with it and possibly being better than what he is now, so I would say he can get called up. Should he be on Raw? I would say more SmackDown, but they trying to throw all the heavy hitters as far as this Netflix debut. So I wouldn't be surprised.
It's gonna be interesting. We absolutely gonna have to have a conversation in the next few weeks on how this roster looks. Because what I wanted to ask you guys is like, hey, if you were, just right now for your fandom, if you had to put somebody from the transfer portal, somebody go to Raw, somebody go to SmackDown, who would you do? But they're going to figure it out because when I saw Gunther talking to Pierce, Aldis, I'm like, damn, he would be good on SmackDown. But then it's like they're talking about they want CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Like they want all the heavy hitters on Netflix.
Right.
They're going to have to appease. They have to figure something out. Which I'm glad we don't have to do it. They got to do it.
Right. Okay.
Phoenix. My man been tweeting up a storm over the last few days. He been getting this shit off. Phoenix said, I need a doctor. And you fucks didn't want to give me one. He said shit will be revealed. He was going ham. He's been going ham on Tony Khan and AEW.
He was Cat Williams, it sounds like, huh?
Okay.
He said shit would be revealed.
I don't have a lot on this. We had to speak on it because it's important. It's not like we shying away from it. I guess my question to you guys is, what would you do if you were Tony Khan? And I think we already had this conversation. So B, I want you to start, and then E, I want to hear your thoughts on it. Now knowing what he is saying that I was hurt or you neglected to get me taken care of for a year. Word is they added a year onto his contract. So it's a full 12 months. They said it had nothing to do with him wanting to go to WWE. I don't know how that makes sense, but whatever. What would you do if you were Tony Khan?
At this point, I would just go ahead and just free him from his contract because you don't want this to get any worse than what it already is. We literally will criticize and literally bash Vince for what Tony is doing. You can tie it into Ali, like literally keeping him on, adding time to his contract or whatnot, and finally after the third, fourth attempt, he got what he wanted. I just don't want it to get ugly because, like I said, we've heard this story before. CM Punk had the same issue, and apparently Rusev Miro had the same issue as well. It's about the injury and the doctor situation. So you don't want more people to come out with that same kind of conversation because that's going to eventually make him look even more worse than what it is now. And I'm calling cap on the extension of the contract because of the injury. I just think that's just to prove a pointless point, like because he can do it, because once he's gone, we already know where he's going to possibly end up. So I think it's more of a petty reason why he's extending his contract. But I would just say let him go. Like, what's the purpose of holding on to somebody who is verbally saying they're not happy? Like with us in real life, or us regular schmeglers, like if we're not happy, we leaving. As far as anything, relationship, friendship, if we're not happy, we're leaving it. So why hold him if he's not happy? Especially with Ricky Starks, like just let him go. If they don't want to be there, grant them their wish and let them be happy. It's all about them at the end of the day. It's not about Tony. It's not about the EVPs. It's not about the execs. It's not about any of them. It's about the wrestler and making sure that they're happy because they're the ones that's putting their life on the line for our entertainment. They're the ones that's missing out on family and stuff like that for us. So let them go.
Like this give maybe some other people in Rhodesia, I'm not sure how deep you got into it, but like with AEW, they don't give the wrestlers doctors. Like they make them go out, find their own doctor. They pay for it, and then AEW will reimburse it. Like, right. Whereas in WWE, this is a Punk thing. Like they pick the doctors, they pay for everything, so they take care of everything for the wrestlers. Almost like the team doctor in a sport. Like right. And that might be good or bad depending on the wrestler. But I feel like AEW should give the option to both, because some people may not know who to go to get a good surgery, right? And especially you got to pay out of pocket. I know he's paying people decent money, but like these guys don't have like health insurance per se, right? So like that operation or something might be a heavy chunk, and now they're going to a cheaper doctor to get a procedure and it goes bad, etc. So you would think that the AEW want more control over like these wrestlers going under the knife, right? But at the same time, B, you mentioned it, man. Like we need to have the conversation that Tony Khan is becoming just as bad as Vince McMahon is in business and creative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I talked about it, you know, when Matt and I, back when Matt still was being an AEW shield, he was trying to hold out for a long time. And he's talking about this contract, and I'm like, man, look, the contract may or may not be good for AEW and Tony Khan. Like, because now he's like a fat rat. He's gotten paid to continue to give us what he's been giving us, right? Like, look, I got the money, so what I'm doing works. Like right now, we're seeing creatively it may not, and now he's sitting there holding these people hostage. So I'm all about like, hey man, this honor your contract. You said you were gonna do this amount of time. Like I don't think you want to let dudes out just because they're unhappy. Because people can get unhappy for whatever the reason, right? Mm-hmm. They might see things grass greener, keep them. But when you talk about adding time because of injury, and then you're adding time and you have no intention of using them, you're just holding them out so they can't go be where they're going to be happy. Like that's some petty ass shit. Like why?
That's the part, man. To me, that's the part. If they were on TV being used, hell no, work your contract.
Because you think about like Ali, for instance, right? Ali, like he was like, yo, they kept using them, right? They kept using them, they kept putting them on TV, you know, like. But now with Ray and then Ricky, they have no plans on. Then you talk about Cap, Tony Khan sitting there talking about, well, it's not my decision. What the fuck you mean? It's your decision. It's absolutely your decision. You put more time on this contract, and you run creative, and you not gonna use this guy. You want him. You're gonna pay him just to sit at home so he can't go somewhere and be happy. Like right. And here's the thing. See, like I talked about this on another show. Like no, here's the thing. AEW is not running. Tony Khan's not running AEW because he needs it for money, right? This is a passion project for him. This is a hobby for him. Mm-hmm. Like, right? He don't care about spending this money to let this dude sit home. In some mind, that's almost like I don't know, like corporate bullying. Like, right? Look, I can waste money and make you unhappy because I can. Like, right? Now, if somebody else had to pay this bill and they depended on this money, like, you know what? I can better use this money on maybe better production, Tony Khan, because your show looks like shit. Or maybe, you know, something else, like whoever the case may be, right? Instead of sitting there paying this dude because you can, right, to be spiteful and he can come up with all these, I'd rather you just keep it a band and say, hey, you know what? I'm paying your ass to sit home because I can. Versus, it's not up to me. Oh, I don't know what's going on. You know exactly what's going on. Keep it a band and keep it original. Like, I just feel like when you watch his show and he's doing these things, I feel like it's not a good look for his company. When you look at how many of the hardcore fans, we talked about it before, like, hey, there's a market for this type of show. But the thing is, like, I think that market is shrinking. And I think a good portion of their audience are hardcore fans, right? When they see the way he's treating these wrestlers, a la Vince McMahon, right? And when he was shitting on wrestlers, I feel like he's starting to look like the same way. So I don't think it's a good look for perception for AEW. And at the end of the day, you think about Karma's a mug, right? Like his last show was like 580 something. Like I think NXT had a bad night, and they still beat AEW. Right? Their developmental show on CW, you know, is beating their show. So people are tuning out to watch it. He already got to start downgrading his venues. So I feel like if he continues to treat wrestlers this way, I feel like a lot of fans are going to slowly turn against the company. Whereas 5 years ago, the hardcore fans was like embracing the show and carrying it. Now they're slowly walking away from it. I think this adds to it.
Yeah.
B, how often do you watch AEW? And has it changed over the last year?
Probably twice a month if I can. So I'm not that wrestling fan who literally devotes my time 100% to wrestling. Like I have my normal TV time, all of that. I have my time where I just don't want to deal with wrestling, but when I do tune in, probably a couple of times a month. Taking it back to what you said, Matt, at the very beginning, I think what loses me every single time is the storyline. Like, how did we get to this point? How do we jump from this part to that part? Like, what's the connection? Like, what's the buildup? So if I don't see a story, I lose my interest. But of course, I watch, to support like Mercedes. And that's a different discussion for a different day as far as her. But I show up for the support, like, I'm rooting for everybody black for the most part. But they every time I watch, I just get disappointed. Now, if you comparing the hype from the beginning to where it is now, it's dead. It's a dud. And what's interesting to me is everything started to go left when Cody left. Nobody wanted to admit it at that time, but you can start seeing them wheels turning a different direction once Cody left. And then, of course, looking at with CM Punk, all that, here we go. So, I don't know. The diehard AEW fans not going to admit that, they kind of hit a wall. And we can stop saying that this is a new company. They've been here long enough to know right from wrong or how to fix this, how to go from A to Z. So, I don't know.
And it's funny too because and shout out to everybody who left me some feedback from last week's show. That wasn't a gimmick. That's how I felt. Like I had just reached my wits end with AEW, and it's because I know it's not going to get better. That's why I reached my wits end, right? Like with WWE, we kept hoping it was going to get better, and kept hoping and kept hoping and kept hoping, and eventually it got to the point where AEW came, and we were like, all right, we off this now. We're going to watch AEW, and it's incredible. But Tony has shown me what this is now for like a year and a half straight overall. And then, okay, cool. It's just not for me anymore. And I'm fine with it. It sucks because I was looking at my All In shirt earlier that I got from that show. But that is what it is, right? But they're going to eventually have to change because if you look at, they've had some good press. They did their All In Texas press conference on Monday. Tickets went on sale. Congrats to them for doing another stadium show. Hopefully it turns out to be a success. But outside of some of their, of course, the major contract deal and outside of some of their key announcements in regards to where they're going in their stadium shows this year or next year, it's been a lot of negative news. All this contract information, creative's not the best, ratings are not the best, attendance is not the best. It's a lot of negativity. And if I was Tony Khan, and you don't want to set a precedent, but I would let anybody out the contract who doesn't want to be there that I'm not using. If I'm using you, too bad. You under contract. But if I'm not using you, you got to go because this is going to be a thing. Like, how long is Ray Fenix going to tweet once a day and say something to where it gets to a point where somebody says, all right, we just let that man go with his brother and go to WWE. It's going to have to get to that point. But I know Raj put up a tweet on Monday talking about ratings. You guys know I don't get too much into ratings, but I guess Rampage did the lowest number ever. I guess Collision didn't do a great number, and they had 3 or 4 Continental Classic matches on there. Mm-hmm. And I just quote tweeted, and I just said, the issue is great matches would never be enough in wrestling. Right. You got to have great stories attached to it. You got to have characters that we care about attached to it. And the problem with AEW, and I said it last week, is this Continental Classic, for as cool as it may have sounded the first year they did it, for the first couple weeks, because it's like having the G1 on American TV every single week. The problem is you're blowing through matches that could be legit stories for weeks and months on end for your television show, and you're blowing your load for one shot on a random show that nobody's going to remember that said match or who won 6 months later. Like right now, nobody can tell me who won round 2 of the Continental Classic last year. It doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Will Ospreay
hey, Matt, hey, Matt, you know who's funny though? You said, big matches don't draw ratings or views. Like Dave Meltzer, Uncle Dave, like the King Shield himself, AEW has been going on saying that. right? He's been talking about like it's a lot of people are talking about AEW, but as you said, man, look, AEW is what it is, man. I don't think like this man Tony Khan does not care about money. Almost has endless money. Like, right? So you mean to tell me you gonna tell this rich man who got this $500 million contract that he needs to change the way he does television? Like, right?
No doubt. You're right.
We was just saying a couple months ago, not we, but people were just saying that the ratings didn't matter. Like, right? He still got paid his money. So why does he need to change the way he views and wants to do his shows? At the end of the day, who is he going to bring in there to write a show? Like, you mean to tell me I'm a billionaire? I'm a billionaire and I'm going to give up the reins of my business to somebody else? Hell no. Like, right? There's the only way this show is going to change if someone forces his hand. Unless, Papa comes out there, or when in 3 years when his contract is not trying to renew and like WBD, like, nah, these ratings it's not hitting no more. Like, I'm gonna give you less money. Well, something has to force his hand to change. But until people are still paying him to put on his show, we're gonna keep getting what we're getting, right?
And they back him. You got the backing from fans. You have the biggest backing. What's interesting about this part, the biggest backing from your wrestling journalist. So as long as he still has that backing, he ain't listening to what actually needs to be done as far as a retweet or stuff like that. So he gonna keep doing. Like I said, if he ever had kids, his kids are good. So he doesn't even need the money. So it's disappointing, right? It's disappointing. So I'm like, you just roll with the point, the punches at this point. Yeah, it's disappointing.
That's why I jumped off. Unfortunately, I jumped off. Before we get to Saturday night's main event preview and head out of here, I asked B. I said, "Hey, you got anything for the show?" And she said, "I do, but I want to wait to give it to you on the show because I want genuine reactions." So, B, do you want to give us your hot topic right now, or do you want to give us your hot topic after we preview Saturday night's main event?
Oh, we can do it now. I have no problem doing it now. Okay. So, of course, we're in the midst of Christmas. I think Christmas is almost, 2 weeks away or something like that?
Almost, yep.
Yep.
And, one of my favorite things about Christmas is Christmas movies. Literally, November, the day after Thanksgiving, I'm already watching Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story, etc., etc.
Legend.
So, I'm going to say this. I'm going to drop this grenade and run.
Oh no!
But you got to come back though.
No, I'm not gonna dip out. But I'm like, how am I?
She's about to disconnect. She gonna be saying that she gonna leave.
Christmas movies, and I hope somebody know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going with this. 2
movies stand out to me that people look at as Christmas movies, and they're not. That being said, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Die Hard just so happened to be set during Christmas time.
Thank you.
Bingo.
There was no Christmas plot. There was no Christmas novelty. All they had were Christmas lights and Carl Winslow. That does not make it a Christmas movie. And I'm so disappointed that Tubi, I have Tubi, shout out Tubi.
Shout out Tubi.
They have it. I've been down many rabbit holes on Tubi. They have it under the holiday category. It's not a Christmas movie. When did that even get established? But it's not. I respect Bruce Willis, but it's not a Christmas movie. Now, I might be choosing violence with this one.
Okay.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas is not a Christmas movie. It is not a Christmas movie. I'm going to say why. Shout out to ABC Family because they do the rollout with, back then it was the 13 days of Halloween, 25 days of Christmas. When you looked at the lineup,
and
Halloween,
I'll let you know just how much of a goat you are. You called it ABC Family. It's freeform now, but that is how old school we are. Is I would say the same thing. Shout out to you for that. ABC Family.
When you look at the lineup for the 13 days of Halloween, because now they do 31, but the old school folks know it was strictly just 13 days. Nightmare Before Christmas was on there. But you go to the 25 Days of Christmas, it wasn't on there. It's not a Christmas movie, y'all. It's not. Like, it literally opens up with "This is Halloween." It's more of a Halloween movie to me. Him putting on a hat, the beard, and the jacket, that doesn't, I get the plot, but it does not make it a Christmas movie. Every time I watch it during the Christmas season, I turn it off because I'm like, this is something I watch in October, not in December. So that is my hot topic. Die Hard and Nightmare Before Christmas, they're not Christmas movies. Back to you, Bob.
That ain't a hot topic at all for me. Maybe it is for one of these two other esteemed panelists, but I 1,000% agree about Die Hard, and I 100% agree about Nightmare Before Christmas. So now, the Nightmare Before Christmas, I watched it for the first time last year.
I was about to say, did you even watch it?
I had never watched it before. I bought it on 4K, and that was the first time I watched it in totality. We watched it during Christmas time, and I'm like, okay, if somebody wanted to debate that, okay, we can have a debate. But I would put it closer to the Halloween also. Now, Die Hard, I have always said, and I'll take it to my grave, that is not a Christmas movie.
It's not.
Because of what you said. It needs to be plotted around, like Rhodesia will watch all these damn Lifetime Christmas movies.
My girl.
It's Hallmark. Actually, it's Hallmark. It's Hallmark, and they all are built around
Hallmark.
Christmas. Santa Claus is
not,
up in
man.
there. Yes, they are.
Or
Or they're coming home for Christmas for the family holidays and their traditional dinners. It is Christmas. Every single one of them is Christmas.
I don't know if that's really Christmas, though. Right? Like
The last one I watched was them doing their Christmas holiday card. That's Christmas. Everything is around Christmas.
Allegedly. But yes, I agree. For sure. I 100. I thought you was about to go crazy and say something like A Christmas Story is not a good Christmas movie. That's what I thought
heck no.
Yeah,
That's my favorite
fine.
Christmas movie of all time. I'm standing 10 toes down behind that one. No.
But
yeah,
The Night Before Christmas. Yeah, I don't think it's a Christmas movie. I think it says it's in the title, Before Christmas. So I think, so no on that. And then again, hell no on Die Hard. We are completely aligned here.
No
right
complaints
now,
from me,
y'all.
though.
Okay.
Hey, but I will say that my favorite Christmas movies are the Home Alone 1 and 2.
Now, let me ask you this.
Legendaries, boy.
Let me ask you this. If you look at the traps from Home Alone and Home Alone 2, which one do you prefer? Which one is your favorite?
Man, I gotta feel like the Home Alone 2 was like more brutal, man. Like them dudes should have been dead, man. but this is when I noticed, like I noticed this a couple years ago watching it, because this is like a family tradition at this point. Thanksgiving, we start watching those movies. Man, you want to talk about a blueprint on like bad parenting? Like those parents are like the worst parents in these movies, man. Like I can't believe they left this little boy home alone, not once but twice. The first time was terrible. Like you just see them running ahead of the kid. Like I couldn't believe I will ever let my sons run behind me in a busy airport. Like they hauling ass. They ain't paying no attention. And then once they land, that's when they realize that they missing the kid. You talk about you ain't seen your child for 2 to 4 hours.
Y'all that busy. Y'all didn't think so.
Listen.
I
mean,
oh my God.
They literally said they're the definition of fuck these kids. They don't care. They didn't care.
Straight up.
they
Straight up.
Kids.
Yeah, they put them in that attic and left them there.
And y'all want to talk about movie villains, classic movie villains. The uncle from 1 and 2. Movie villain.
He's the worst, man.
Movie villain. He is terrible,
How
man.
You pushing off your brother-in-law. What you talking about? You paid your dad dropped a lot of money for this trip. Wouldn't want to spoil your fun. Now Kevin gagged with that. Was talking about some. Wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate. Exactly, because you over on his dime. What are you talking about, villain?
Hey, Kevin was right. Kevin was right the entire. He was the good guy. He had crappy parents. He had an even worse uncle. He had a terrible family. His big brother was like terrible. Like, man, like when I watch this back, I'm like, man, his family truly was shitty. I understand why he didn't want them around for Christmas. I wouldn't either.
I had something fantastic around Christmas, but I'm going to hold it because there is not a better segue for Saturday night's main event, then Kevin's right.
Kevin's
right.
That was a good one.
Good one. I'm looking right at his face right now. Let's go.
And I know we went back and forth the last pod. I'm sorry. To me, in no world does it make sense for Kevin Owens to not win the championship this Saturday at Saturday night's main event.
Oh my God.
There is nothing anyone can tell me that would tell me it makes sense for Kevin Owens to not win the championship. Cody Rhodes does not have another challenger set after this. You just run it back, and if need be, give Cody the belt back either at the Rumble or at the next Saturday night's main event or at Elimination Chamber. So this has nothing to do with him not being a champion going into WrestleMania. This has everything to do with telling an incredible story of Kevin Owens calling Cody Rhodes out and being able to say for a few weeks, for a few months, whatever that looks like, I was right. I told you about him. And that gives Cody just another hill to overcome before either getting to the final boss, and with The Rock's not going to work Mania, my plan of hopefully having John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the championship at WrestleMania. And this is the first Saturday night's main event. So for my money, either you got to put the belt on Kevin Owens or you need to put the belt on EO, because there needs to be a significant title change, in my opinion, to make this feel like it should feel. That's where my money's at. Kevin Owens walks out of Nassau Coliseum as the world heavyweight champion.
I agree. I 100% agree. Because my mind is fixated on Cody versus Randy at either the Rumble or Mania. And low-key, they have enough history to where they don't need a title. So even if, hypothetically speaking, Kevin win and Cody doesn't get it back, it's fine. Because he already has a storyline brewing going towards Mania. So it's the perfect time. How long has it been since Kevin had a main title?
8 years, they said? Or 6 years?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it's overdue.
Yeah, yep. Because I think about 4 years ago, he probably was a tag team champion. Before a singles championship, forever.
And I feel like they want to make a statement with this very first episode this weekend. That's the one title. Now, another title that can be dropped is Liv. I'm over Liv. But if I had to choose between the two of those, definitely Kevin should beat Cody on Saturday.
We do this every PLE. Be like Cody somehow needs to lose. So like Matt comes on here and with passion, and like Cody needs to lose, and then Rhodesia starts smacking her arm, like, and they get excited about it because they contrive a reason for him to lose every single PLE, right? Because they don't like him, which is okay, which is fine. But at the same time, though, we getting ready for Mania season. Like, right. And so what's really the end game? Like, where do they need Kevin to be? Right. Because if Kevin Owens, like, it seems like his next natural feud is going to be with Randy Orton. Right. Mm-hmm. And then everyone's like, oh, we know he can give, Randy Orton the win at WrestleMania. He can break the streak, whatever the case may be. And that'll be great. But that match in totality, where the rest of the matches would probably be on that card, would not be like main event worthy. So now you got the Undisputed Championship, which right now is the championship in WWE. It's probably like the third or fourth match down. Like, right? So, I think that blood feud that they would potentially have doesn't need a championship more so than it needs a champion. Now let's talk about Cody Rhodes. Like it or not, I know like the Chicago faction of TFW, they don't want Cody as the guy in the company, but the fact is he is the guy. He's drawing the house shows. He's the guy. He's the John Cena. He's the Hulk Hogan of this generation. He is a cash cow for the company. He's their highest merch seller. So when we talk about momentum, you're gonna stop momentum. Like, right, he hasn't had the title that really long in comparisons to other like draws like this. Like, right, like John Cena didn't lose his championship in the first year that he had it. Neither did Hogan. Neither did any of the top draws that had it like that. Right. Like, if he were to lose the title in a transitional way, I think that halts some of his momentum. Like, right, and when you got somebody right now who's so hot, why put a flank? Why turn the heat down a little bit just just for a thrill for one night.
Because
right?
Story,
you got to think about
the story. He's going to win the belt back, man. I'm not saying take the belt off.
Okay, let's Paul. I understand the story that you laid out. I'm talking to you about business right now. So, like, the story can still take place without him losing a championship. There's lots of things you could do. We talked about a great draw of heat. Like, the New Day has reinvigorated their entire career. Not right now, Google. Not right now. Like, the New Day has reinvigorated their entire career.
I was like, get him on
the pod. No, that's Google wanting to add some stuff. Google was like, yeah, they hating on Cody again. I said, I know, Google, but not right now. Listen, it's like the story can move forward without a transitional championship. Like, the next person that beats a red hot Cody Rhodes should be the person that's going to have the title for some time, not some dude who's going to have it for a month or two. Like, right, that's not going to do either one of them really good for them to flip-flop titles. Now we're going back to AEW booking. If y'all want to see that kind of shit, go look at Wednesday. Matter of fact, when you get off work on Saturday, turn on Collision if you want to see people flip-flopping and making people cold for no fucking reason. Go watch AEW if you want to see that kind of shit. That's a story. Like, no, man. You're not going to turn the heat down on your biggest baby face for a transition. The next dude that beats Cody needs to be the guy you move forward with it for some time.
Oh, I don't think so, man. Because I think just because he loses it, he can win it back. Like, this is a whole nother conversation, but there is not that next guy yet, right? So I don't want to see Roman's title reign, Bianca's title reign. I've said before, I think has kind of clouded us a little bit on what title reigns can and should be. I hope Kevin Owens beats him Saturday just so we can have a awesome podcast discussion next week on the show about now what's next, because we know Cody would win it back. But I think for what they're trying to do for this show, I think that would be cool. My hope is, like I said, with the New Day thing, I don't want just Big E to come back and be like, hey, positivity, and they all hug. I'm hoping they don't think that the crowning of the new women's, which one are they doing, U.S. or Intercontinental? I think U.S. champion is enough.
U.S.
Yeah. I'm hoping they don't think that's enough. I love that they added Damian to Finn and Gunther. I love it from a in-ring perspective, and I love it from we knew what the finish would have been if Damian wasn't involved. Damian would have cost Finn the match. He can still cost the match now, but at least it's not due to outside interference. Is there any way Gunther does not come out of this match as the champion? Are you giving Finn and Damian at all?
We're not even about to advance to Finn and Damian because you haven't got my take yet on Cody and KO.
Well, you said put it right in my vein, so I figured that means you was feeling it.
Oh, first off, I was going to be diplomatic in my response here. But when E just went off and had Google try to help him in his retort, how about this? I'm about to book out this championship. KO wins, goes against Randy. Randy wins. John Cena comes back. John Cena wins, and now he breaks the record. How about that? How about Cody don't even sniff the title again?
Damn. So we got Tony Khan. So we got Tony Khan on the show too. We booking we just booking all kinds of flat finishes. Yep. We just gonna. There we go.
Hey, no, if it was Tony Khan,
let's set it back.
None of them would have won the championship like Will Ospreay, and then 6 months later they would be forgotten and not as big as they should have been because he didn't strike when the iron was hot. That's the difference. At least we're trying to get people over here.
Oh no! We did that. We did that. We had Will Ospreay lose to Swerve, right? Deading his momentum. He ain't been the same since he lost to Swerve.
He hasn't.
So you want to talk about it? So there we go. It's like you got this hot wrestler, right? You got this hot wrestler, right? He loses when he probably should have won, like right, and he ain't been the same since. So we want to book, KO to win. So we gonna lose. Cody gonna lose momentum. He may not get to as hot as he was. Cause we say he's a made man, but we don't know how hot or made of a man he is because he ain't been the man that damn long.
You don't think Cody's a made man? Like legit?
Yeah,
like you not podding. You don't think Cody's a main man?
I don't know if he's made because he ain't been there that long. He ain't been there that long. He ain't been there that long.
Really?
And look.
I think he's made for sure. I think he's only one of. I think there's like 5 guys in W that's made, meaning like you can lose and they don't lose anything. He's one of them.
Like we haven't had a guy this hot since John Cena. And you see how y'all hero John Cena was booked 4 years. Like, right? Now we're going to take the guy on that level. And some say, right, that Cody actually eclipsed him, right? And we going to have him lose in the middle of the year. Like, we ain't seen nobody this hot lose like that this quick.
LA Knight.
No, not this hot. Not this hot.
And we didn't really get into it on the last pod, but Shinsuke ran right through him, and it don't look like LA Knight getting that title back no time soon.
No time soon. It's not happening.
No time soon. Like, shit. It's like, no.
Why they do that? Why they do that to him like that?
That was, damn, I don't know what happened, but that's another one. I'm like, what happened? So are y'all giving anybody a shot to beat Gunther? I don't. I got Gunther winning, of course.
Yeah, Gunther. I feel like with Gunther, just ride it out until Mania. It still gives him time to find, I guess, another opponent, another solid opponent. Because I don't see Finn or Damian. I don't know, but yeah, he shouldn't. He's on a high momentum. Even though I do love that they did show us that even the toughest dude can eventually break or show some sort of vulnerability. But yeah, he shouldn't lose. I would say he can lose at Mania, but no time soon.
Hey E, would you be open to Cody losing then to battle for the championship that Gunther's holding and taking it, since they saw each other at Crown Jewel? What's your thoughts on that, E? Hell no.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like that. I think he needs to hold the title.
Because he can get.
And so here's my match. He holds the title until he wrestles John Cena at Mania.
But you have Cody beating him, right? At Mania.
We can talk about it.
So do you?
But here's the thing. I think that match will mean a lot more, right? Because Cody hasn't lost a match, really since WrestleMania, right? Like, I think that match will mean more, and the promos they can have with John Cena and Cody Rhodes will mean a lot more if John Cena can talk about, hey, I'm going to be an undefeated, Cody Rhodes. And even if he somehow were to win, like, I think that would mean more for him that he be an undefeated Cody Rhodes versus a Cody Rhodes who just lost a few months before that, who just regained the championship. Mm-hmm. So like I said, it kind of depends on where they're going, and what's their next match. But as far as this Gunther match, I gotta be like, man, I don't like what they're doing to do. I think he is, they're doing that weird thing they did with Damian Priest, like before they turned to him, he kind of tweener, like he's just kind of talking like a baby face in a lot of ways, right? I lost respect for you, Finn, because you were taking the low road, like he wasn't doing that with Imperium, like in a lot of different ways. I guess maybe he kind of did with the ass a little bit, but he had to be his people kind of loosening them up. I don't like what they're doing. I don't see him losing though, but I would be okay if Finn won. Like, I've been a Finn guy. I like what he kind of did on Raw. I feel like this is one of the first time they actually kind of made him more heelish. Like, right, he's even turned the heel on his own faction.
Yep.
Like, right. So like, I like that dynamic. Now, I think when you talk about transitional champions, like y'all want KO to be, I think Finn will be a better transitional champion to the next person where to get it, right? Like, or they can do the thing with Gunther. They want to, firmly submit him as a babyface, right? That might give him a steeper heel decline. Like, now he has to overcome like this, obnoxious heel Finn Balor. I actually kind of wouldn't mind seeing that happen at Saturday Night Run, because let's be honest, I think this Gunther run has been one of the more flattest like championship reigns that I've seen in quite some time, and I didn't expect it. Especially with seeing what he did as the IC champion, living up to it. I just think his title reign right now begs for like, look, man, because he's been kind of unsure of himself. He ain't really been himself. Like, maybe this is something, him losing championship makes him turn to wherever he's going to turn to, and now he's going to face a Finn. And I think Finn being a transitional champion works better than KO being a transitional champion.
The only issue with that is then you're talking about doing Finn versus Damian again for the championship, and I'm cool on that. To me, it feels like the North Star for Gunther is either Kaiser for the championship, or Gunther loses his title, Kaiser wins a title, not the world championship, and that's how they feud.
Yeah,
I definitely see
the balance of power changing.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, the only reason, if hypothetically, if Gunther were to lose this weekend, is because of Kaiser. Like, I feel like that's going to be the Mania moment. Because especially with, they have history too. They've been friends for a long time. So I didn't even think about that until I just brought it up. But I see that being the end game for them too. So like I said, if it gets to that point, Kaiser will be the reason that Gunther does lose the title.
I like that. And I got some bad news for you, right? You gonna see Damian versus Finn because Damian got to get his get back. He got his ass whooped like
That's
twice.
fair,
So like
yeah.
that we gonna get another little taste of Damian versus Finn. So you gonna get that. So again, I'm probably picking Gunther, but I'll be okay with Finn becoming champion. And shit, man, I love AJ Styles. Like actually, I thought about AJ Styles, but I like Ludwig.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. Like because of the conversation they had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask this. So with the John Cena conversation, so you're saying, even though you didn't say it, that John Cena, his way to Mania would be possibly the Rumble win or Elimination Chamber?
I'm thinking so. Like I think that that's an easy way for him to get in there, right? Because like I don't think you just hand title shots out. Like, oh, you're gonna do it because of who he is. Like, I hate that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? In real sports, like, just because Michael Jordan came back doesn't mean he automatically gets to go to the playoffs and go for this. Like, he had to kind of work for it. But that's an easy way for him to get into the championship, right? Is for him to win one of those matches. Now, I don't know he's coming back, but I hope that I will be okay with him coming back for like a Rumble. Because that's kind of, I won't say it's a fluke type of thing. But all you gotta do is knock someone over, and then someone can trip over the top rope. You know what I'm saying? And he can win, right? So hopefully, something like that happens along with him. Sewing in the ball spot.
You and Rhodesia and y'all aesthetics and appearance.
No. John Cena can't help his ball spot. Julia can help her collar contact.
She sure can.
So that's the difference.
I'm glad y'all said that because it's somebody else. And I usually don't even point out like the looks and all that stuff, but there's somebody else that could do some changes to their appearance. And that's Big E.
Say it.
Big E. Sir, go to the hood and find you that barbershop, the one that you can literally hear a barber arguing with his baby mama, or the one where you hear the gunshots in the back, in the far off in the distance. You got to get that lined up, my brother. He looked like somebody's associate minister at church. Like Biggie is what, Gary be 40? He gotta be 40, dude. Like he knocking on 65. I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
That's the power of positivity. If he went on the hate train, like Woods and Kofi, he would come out there and pour it out. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're right. If he had a fresh lineup, you're right. It wouldn't felt as sad and dramatic.
Yeah.
But now that he looked like that, and he ain't brushed his hair for days.
You felt bad for him. You just look at him. He's like, just look at him. That's why we felt bad for him. It worked. Keep it, man. Keep it till you get cleared. Rhodesia, what's the next match?
We pretty much touched on all of them. So then I'll just go with the women's championship with Liv and Io Sky.
I would love Io to win, but I don't know
think
if
Liv
it's the
losing.
time.
I don't think Liv
unfortunately.
Yeah,
I don't see it happening.
I would love. I saw a lot of people on social media after Raw was like, Rhea and they did the thing where they're holding each side of the belt, Io and Rhea, and they're like, that's your WrestleMania match. I still think the WrestleMania match is Rhea and Bianca. Like I don't know why Io and Rhea would be the WrestleMania match. Like that doesn't make sense to me. We still have so many major shows, and this is the old school of us of thinking like, hey, this is December, so we're already talking Mania. Everything we've talked about could well happen before Mania. Every single match we've thrown out there.
Sure, yeah.
It could be the Rumble. It could be one of these Raws on Netflix. It could be the Chamber. Like there is just Saturday Night's Main Event still. So many damn matches and shows.
Man, no sells me every time. No sells me. I talk about Armageddon every time.
She does it every time. I just ignore her. Yeah. Just keep moving.
No, it's December. We got Armageddon coming up.
Keep moving. But yeah, I don't think it's time for Liv to drop it. But we say that a lot on the show, and then they end up dropping it. But signs are right there. So maybe, but I don't see that. I would love it though. I would love Io. the way E feels about Cody and his title reign is how I feel about Io. I'm like, put the belt on Io and just never let her lose it. just have her wrestle everybody and it'd be the best match of the night and just keep it going.
Yeah, they tried this last year and I don't know, man. But hey, I got another question right for yes or no. Mm-hmm. I got another question right before we finish up. This so we got this. I don't know. We talked about the U.S. Women's Championship and who we want to win. But how y'all feeling about this tournament and these secondary titles for the women? I mean, we've got a couple weeks into the tournament. Y'all think it's working or?
I said my piece. I'll let B talk about it.
That didn't sound good.
I'm gonna say yes.
Right. All right. Yeah, right. You started.
I had to think about it.
Okay. All right.
Because we've said for the longest that they need a mid-card title for the women. Because at one point, the roster was so oversaturated, everybody can go after the main titles. I do, as of now, I do like the concept. I like the idea. I like where it's going. My only fear is that eventually it gets to the point where it's pretty much treated like the women's tag team titles, which I hope is not the case. So my opinion is to start off with the strongest people suitable for those titles, which is Chelsea for which one is on SmackDown?
Chelsea's on SmackDown.
Chelsea,
and that title is that the IC US? Okay, so
US.
Chelsea wins that one. I don't know who can win the one on Raw, especially since Zelina lost. I don't know. But I think it keeps the momentum going if you keep the right people around it. Like, keep the top stars away from it. There's probably only one woman that I wouldn't mind winning it, but of course I like to watch the world burn, so I'm not going to say her name. But I think if they keep the funny people, like the comedians of the bunch with those titles, I think it can go forward. I like it. The IC title is that mug look light years better than the US for sure. Mm. That mug
both the men's and the women's belt. Mm-hmm. Right? But I enjoy it because they're triple threat matches, and then when we get the finals, which would be a 1-on-1 match, I think they've done a good job of making it feel important, which is all you can ask for when you're introducing a championship. And there is some typically with these tournaments, you know for a fact. And you don't know for a fact right now. Like, as much as I would want Chelsea to win, Michin. I could see Michin winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know,
that's what I was thinking about Michin, but she's on SmackDown as of now.
So you can see that, and even on Raw, to your point, B, like there's a couple you can look and say like, I can see that happening. So, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And then once again with this portal, they're talking about belt swapping, and who knows what that looks like. I'm sure it'll still be 1-1. So Raw still have one women's belt, SmackDown still have one women's belt. Maybe those two belts will swap, but it's still the same. You're still going to have the main title. You're still going to have your secondary title. But I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, I agree. More exposure. Like, that's why I wasn't really that upset when Naomi lost, because I feel like I personally think Naomi is the culprit. So why necessarily
put so too?
Yeah, I think Naomi did it. So we've been hoping and literally praying for Naomi to dim the glow and join the dark side. So I think that's the perfect way to get her into that realm. So yeah, that's why I'm not mad she lost. Because she got a whole bigger thing to worry about. But yeah, I definitely think Naomi did it.
If it was her, holy shit, does that put Bianca in a really bad position? And oh my God, the story they can tell with that. Who you siding with?
Yeah.
You and Naomi been girls way longer than you and Jade. There is a significant, incredible story that can be told with that.
But she can't side with Naomi if Naomi did it.
That's true.
We talked about it though, and I think I brought it just as a shock thing. But from a story perspective, like why would she do it?
So
it's it's not a reason for her to do it. Like they haven't had any problems prior to that.
True. Now the wild card, if it's not Naomi, obviously it's Bayley. But I think with Naomi, if it's her, she left, did her thing, came back and expected to still be that big three with Bianca, Jade, and herself. But as we all saw, they got that shine, and Naomi kept getting pushed further and further and further on back. And as somebody who was cool with Bianca first, that's jealousy. You know, it's envy. It's like y'all homegirls now, but you pretty much took my friend. Now, of course, that storyline purposes, well, Naomi, to be fair, you did leave, but still, you took my friend. And you know how we are. You know how women are. You know how we are. We don't like when somebody comes into the mix with a day one or a best friend or what have you. So that's the foundation. Now, can they build on that? Yeah.
But you know what, B? Like Naomi has been in the world title picture for the past several months, though, right? She just got a championship, match with Nia that she lost, no fault to her own. And had she not been in the spotlight, I think that would make more sense. You know what would actually help something like this is if, like, all right, Jay can't go, like, right, and then somehow she talks Pierce into like, yo, let me fill in for her, like, right. She starts trying to take her spot, and so that was her, that was her thought the entire time, that to get rid of Jay, take her spot because she should have been champion. She should have been with her the whole time, or something to that regards. I think it'd be very interesting though, but I feel like when you talk about a secondary champion, I felt like Naomi was tailor-made for like one of these championships. Somebody that's exciting enough and popular enough to really carry the championship. Because my only thing about the show, I think I talked about it before, is that, like, let's say Michin, I love Michin. I met her, awesome girl. I love for her to get it. But now you got a girl who's still trying to get over herself, trying to get over a new championship. And let's say on the other side, right? Let's say Dakota Kai, wins the championship. It's the same thing. You got another girl trying to get over a new championship. I feel like whoever wins those championships should already kind of be over a little bit in the eyes of the crowd, to where they're kind of building to making that championship mean something. But we'll see, y'all.
That's fair.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a great show on Saturday. The match we forgot, we don't have to go over though, is they added Drew versus Sammy. Yeah. So that should be fun. So big show on Saturday. Of course, we'll talk about it next week. We're probably going to have another special guest next week also. So before we get out of here, B, anything you want to plug? Anything you want to tell the freaks out here?
First off, y'all, thank you all for having me on. Like I said, well over a year in the making. You all are literally one of the best podcasts in the wrestling media world. Hey. And I wish y'all nothing but the best as far as success and all that good stuff. And as far as my hand, I don't usually like doing all this stuff because you want to follow me. But if you all want to follow me, y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My name is both the same: B Ray Jones, BeeRayJones. I am on another podcast, Your Favorite Marks. We're on a hiatus right now, but because of that, I had to tap into something new. So B Radio is coming. The plan is to get that launched on the day that my dad passed away. It's just pretty much an honor and tribute to him. So be on the lookout for that as well. Right.
B Radio.
B Radio. BeeRaydio. And that's on Instagram.
And when is that?
Say it again.
And when is that?
So how that came to be, I have a blog. One of my high school classmates, one of my day ones, he has a podcast with one of the people we went to high school with. And he said, we were talking about it, and we think you should have a blog on our site because you're good at writing. You engage the audience. You bring a lot of facts that a lot of people don't know. And I said, okay, let's do it. So it was initially called Confessions of a Pop Culture Freak, but it got to the point where I didn't love how that came to be, where it was. So I said, well, I can't go with that name no more. I need something different. I need something that's refreshing, that's rejuvenating. And literally the thought came to my mind, B Radio. Because I always wanted to be a radio personality. That was one of my things growing up. So I said, well, just take the nickname that I've somehow donned in the wrestling world and turn that into a blog. So that's the new name. So I'm doing radio segments. Once we launch, I'm doing 30-minute segments weekly. So I'm pretty much taking my blog posts and turning it into audio. TikTok, YouTube, whichever one, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, that's how that came to be.
That is awesome.
Super exciting.
Yep.
So
Thank
congrats
you.
on that. Early congrats already. Thank you again for being on the show. As you said, long time coming. This will not be your only time on here. This is not a one and done. So appreciate you.
Because I definitely made a friend out of Rhodesia, girl. We here. We here.
Okay.
All right, maybe you will be.
I might have to call her. Hey.
Think
Chill.
that was it. And on that note, we are out of here. Y'all know what to do. Leave a thumbs up, like, comment, interact with us, subscribe. Y'all know we appreciate you guys. We love you guys to death. We'll be back next week to talk more wrestling. Hey, we gave y'all 2 hours and damn near 15 minutes on this podcast. All right, so anybody who's still on our heads about we stopped doing 2 shows a week, we moved it to Wednesday, and we gave y'all 2 hours. Love y'all. Peace.